A court of fairies and fiction. Akafath Girls Podcast. Hosts Nell and Liv.
Season 2, Episode 15, Ship Wars and Ruined Taurus.
I just want us all to get together. Can we
The
all
bitch
just meet
chicks.
up and just hang out? So that
We're just gonna be called the bitch chicks. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
The art is good. I love her. But I literally
Yeah, the
cannot-
art style.
I literally cannot stand that ship. I cannot stand it.
You guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm getting so over these ship wars, like the El reel, the Gwen reel, all of it. I'm done. I want the book because I hate this.
When you're like a little kid and like you're like, oh, I want this or whatever, and your mom's like, no, and then you're just so angry that you're just like stomping your feet and you feel all jittery and you're like just annoyed at the fucking world and you're about to full on temper tantrum. Literally, my nerves today when I realized we still didn't have the couple for the book, I was literally getting enraged. Like I was so jittery because I was so mad and stir crazy about this. It makes me mad. It makes me mad.
Oh, yes. Because, like, okay, it's canon. It is fucking canon. Lucian and Elaine.
Me.
It is very heavily hinted at that Az and Gwen are mates.
Yeah. Literally common sense.
What's this extra fluff? What's the frost? Let's just get straight to the
okay.
espresso.
So like that wasn't even like obviously that's my thought, and you know I was mad for Lucian and all that too. But that wasn't even my first singular thought. I like the character of Vasa. I do. I like Vasa. I don't like Vassian. I like Vasa, and I like Lucian separately. My biggest issue with this fucking ship, and especially the shippers of this ship, and I'm not even talking anyone in particular at all. I have seen so many people on fucking TikTok, fucking Facebook, with the whole Vassian shit. And the one thing that they do with this ship is they take
just the miasma girl.
Is they take Feyre's fucking, oh, a lord of flame and a bird of fire. And like that's the only goddamn basis for this ship. Feyre's fucking, maybe that would be a nice portrait. No. Because the problem that I have with it is that they're comparing fire to fire, magic to magic. And I think I said this on our group chat, but like they're sexualizing her magical properties when it's literally a torture thing for her. Koshi is literally torturing her by turning her into a phoenix or whatever the hell it is, firebird, the entire day. So she can't rule over her court. She can't live her life. Keep in mind that Vasa is in her mid-20s, like Elaine and Nesta and Gwen.
That's an early menopause. What the fuck?
So Koshi,
why are you gonna do her
like? Koshi's
not you, but the shippers. Like, why can't you do Vasa dirty and give her like free menopause? That's some bullshit right there.
They like age her up. They make her look way more mature than she is when she was said to be one of the newer queens because her mother passed away. I think it was her mother that passed away that she received.
She's a little baby.
She's like 25. She's like Elaine's age. But Koshi's taking her life away from her and making her a firebird. Like he's ruining her life. He's torturing her with this curse. It's not something to sexualize and say, oh, it's so hot that she has fire powers now. She doesn't have fire powers. She doesn't have fire powers. She's being turned into a firebird. The entire day, she's a fucking bird. That's all it is. A bird with fiery feathers.
I hope she shits on Toshi's head.
I know.
You know what's funny though, you guys? And like, I don't know, maybe I only think about Tog now, but it's like all of the shifters, almost all of them all shift into birds, right?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Yeah, except for one.
The Fae. No, the Fae. Oh, the Fae's shifter forms are birds. The actual shapeshifters are like shapeshifters, I think.
Okay.
Well, there's birds. There's I don't know how far yet you're at.
I just know
I'm like halfway through Crown.
I just know the birds, and then I know Gavriel was a lion shifter, right?
Uncle Kitty Cat.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So I don't get how he's a lion shifter if he doesn't have raw shapeshifting like Lysandra. Because like I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Because all the other Fae have bird forms. Vaughn had a bird form. He was an ostrich.
He's a mountain lion. He's like a cougar shifter. But like, I'm thinking about that lion shifter that Bryce boned in the bathroom, and I'm just like,
Leo. We named him Leo.
She screwed Uncle Kitty Cat. Girl.
No,
some-
Gabriel survived and he had a son. Another son.
I love it.
This freaking family Rhys. This ain't a tree. This is a
It
Rhys.
all comes back to Gabriel. We're gonna start and end with him, basically.
Yeah, nobody
Just stay
Tamlin,
Damn.
Tamlin somehow came from him.
Actually that was my little rant about them sexualizing Vasa's magic, because it's not her being magical and it's not her having innate abilities. It's her form of torture. Like,
Well, it's
nothing
also
to be like, oh, it's so hot that they have the same magic, because they don't have the same magic. Just because she has,
it's also a parallel.
yeah,
What do you
like
mean?
just because she has fiery feathers doesn't make her have fire magic. Like, it doesn't. Feyre's stupid. She saw fire and she went, huh, fire, without thinking. Like,
There's also a parallel because Feyre had to hang out with Rhys for like a week every month. So basically he was her period. And now we see the same thing happening with Vasa and Koshi. So she's having an obnoxious amount of period time with a death god, which is appropriate. That's what a period feels like. It feels like I'm turning into a firebird and I'm going to die by a death god.
when I shit you not, I just took like 4 pills because of my cramps before I jumped on here. I was so enraged today. But actually that leads into something that I said earlier. So you know how I said that like Thea, Vesperus wanting Thea, like for her starborn or whatever, and raising her or whatever, was similar to Amarantha wanting Tamlin. And then I said, like, what if Hybern wanted Lucian? Because someone DM'd me, I think it was Caitlin, DM'd me, and she was like, what do you, or no, it was Ash. Ash DM'd me on Discord, and she said, what do you think of this Reddit theory? And it was basically someone saying that they think Lucian cleaved the hole in the wall for the sentries to go through. And
I think that originally too. I thought that too.
yeah. And I said it would kind of make sense with my theory that, you know, all of the Asteri, whatever, were trying to get the Starborn on their side. So, like, what if Hybern wanted Lucian, and that's why Lucian was there that day? And obviously Rhys and Feyre, because we know now that Feyre's Starborn. And I was like, seems to be a little pattern. Seems to be. So, who would Mors be? Asriel?
Why do you say more? Why do you say that about more?
Because she's suspicious as hell.
I agree with this. I do agree with that.
Because if they come from like
Asteri?
well, so if Rhys has some Asteri and they're cousins, I would assume that Mor would have some Asteri, especially if she's a witch, because witch have Valg in them,
Okay.
like we've talked about. So if
Yeah.
her dark roiling, maybe.
See, that's what I thought we were talking about. So is witch different than Asteri? It has to be.
Well, so witches are like, they're like part Valg, part Fae, and I think part human, right? They're like a part of everything. So they're kind of like Rhys. They're like a bunch of everything. But I'm saying if she had if she was like a witch queen, or she could tap into her Valg side more, depending on what kind of witch she is, because wasn't the Iron Teeth were more Valg, right? That's why I was thinking she was Iron Teeth. So do you remember how I said that I thought that Asriel could have been like her knight, because I thought that Cassian was Rhys's, and that's why Mor was stringing Asriel along, because like he was her knight, and then obviously Lucian is Feyre's knight and stuff like that. So my connection was like, if Rhys really wanted Feyre, took Feyre from Tamlin because he needed a Starborn, and you know Vesperus took Thea, and Amarantha took Tamlin, and Hybern took Lucian, who would Mor take? And I was like, fucking Asriel, because she's been stringing him along this entire time, and we know that he's Starborn now. So I'm like, what do they want with the Starborn? If they're not going to destroy them, do they just want to have them under their control so they don't like turn against them? Is that the thing?
I guess it's a balance thing where like calls to like, and that also includes opposites.
Yeah. Which,
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
I guess that could be said for Nesta and Gwen too.
Bullshit.
Because again, if Gwen has Eris's fire magic, part Starborn, and she does glow, and Nesta's the maid one who's kind of Valgy. It is kind of like calls to like. But that literally means, and Olivia's gonna scream, that literally means that Cormac is both like Mor.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
he cannot be dead. I'd be so pissed if he's like, if Sarah's like, no, he's
did you
dead.
see the comments that I've been sending you all week? Just screenshots. Before I even responded, I screenshotted them. Random fucking comments. on my stuff, like old stuff too.
I swear, I'm telling you guys, she's gonna just be like, Cormac is dead. Where did you get this
There's
from?
no
I
way.
know she is.
There's no way.
No way.
There's way too many clues.
The
No way.
prophecy.
Mm-mm.
Prophecy.
But the prophecy already happened.
The tattoo. Why would she give him the tattoo?
Why would Bryce tell that to Nesta?
I know.
Why would Bryce tell her to figure out what that star on her chest means?
Yeah.
I think it means she's gonna rule the Dust Corp. I don't think that has to do with Cormac. I
No.
think he's dead.
But why would Rigelus say, oh, Prince Cormac is the undiluted bloodline from Dust? And why did he have the tattoo that matched the symbols on the peaks of the Dust Court? Why was there
just
that
for her-
flare of light when he supposedly died?
I'm telling you, Sarah's gonna be like, you guys, it was just a cool tattoo. It didn't mean anything. I know she's gonna say that.
The same goddamn words as the symbols on the Dust Court, the same thing. The same thing. There's
I
no
swear.
fucking way. And people agree with us. They're like, there's no fucking way he's dead. I was like, thank you. Thank you.
No, okay. See, we need the next book. We need the next book because like I need to know
I have to
it
do
now.
a poll. I'm just gonna put, do you think Cormac's dead? Period.
Yeah,
And just
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Is this the hold on.
He pulled an Aelin.
How so, ma'am?
He need to catch up on Tog.
Not yet. I'm like, I know. I'm right now. I'm in my I love Kale Westfall era. So
Mhm.
I'm just like in love with him, and I'm sad because I love Crown of Midnight, but I love Dorian, and I'm like really upset for him.
Oh my god. The only two books I cried for was Assassin's Blade and Crown of Midnight.
It's
Assassin's
awful.
Blade was just
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did have a new
I-
Tog theory that I thought of because I was thinking of
Mhm.
Elaine. I've been thinking of Elaine lately, like Moore and Elaine kind of take up space in my head recently. And
just say it. Let's hear it.
all right, so
Let's hear it.
I was thinking again about Grayson and how he's not fucking dead. And how
Yet.
Who?
Grayson.
Grayson. Correct.
Grayson, well, most notably his disgusting father, but yeah, Grayson too, I guess. And everyone was so on the train before Crescent City 3, and even now some people still believe that Holland was Highburn or whatever, and I don't believe that at all. But if we're doing the descendants thing, where obviously Tamlin is descended from whatever, Moore is descended from whatever, Rhys, there's a reason that Lord Nolan and Grayson, or Lord Nolan taught Grayson, hate the Fae so much. And I'm thinking that they are actually Holland's descendants.
That'd be funny.
Wait, okay, don't answer it exactly, but does Holland have a reason to hate the Fae
He's
so much?
He's just a nasty evil child.
Okay, because so far I have not read Holland. Like I just know he's a horrible child, and like he sounds like kind of like a
Spoiled
psychopath.
and yeah. So basically people's theories that I've seen is that
Oh my
because
God, all that.
so the theory that I see most often is that because the king was possessed by Valg when Holland was obviously conceived, that Holland got more of the bad Valg traits, even if he doesn't have like a whole Valg
Interesting.
himself, that he's just evil, like inherently evil.
He's
And
like a demon
hates,
baby.
and like hates all
Oh
the
my
magic
gosh.
users because they hated all the magic users and all that stuff. They hated the Fae and like magic and all that stuff. And like Holland and the mom literally just fucking hightail it up to their fucking cabin, wherever the fuck
They
the
said-
whole book's. What?
They said bye.
They said bye fuckers and never came back. So like, where did they go? Because you know who else had red fucking hair? The queen. Dorian's mom has auburn hair.
Wait, so who are you saying she is?
I don't know. I don't know. But it's weird because she has red hair and Dorian or the king has brown hair, like Baron, of course. All the bad dads have brown hair. We know this. And like Dorian, there's a reason Dorian doesn't look like them. It's like far back in their line. But Dorian doesn't look like them.
Do we
and then-
find that out?
Yeah.
Do we find that out?
Yeah,
Okay.
we find out who he looks like. But then like Holland doesn't really look like them either because he has like lighter hair.
He's a blonde.
He's a
Holland's a
fucking blonde.
He looks like Adis.
Wait.
No,
so
he
does
looks like
the mom-
Erewhon. He looks like Erewhon.
Does the mom cheat on the dad? Is that what's happening?
I have
Technically,
no idea.
She
technically,
does.
possessed by a Valg and it's not your body and it's a different stream of consciousness.
So Holland does look like Erewhon because of that?
Well, no, so it wasn't, it's not Erewhon that's in the king. It's an unnamed Valg. Again, her never naming people. She doesn't name his Valg ever.
Mm.
Eka, what do you know? I swear to God.
I asked the Tog chat if they lied to me. I swear to fucking God. I know the story of what happened and how they got in. I'm not saying.
Okay.
But they told me that his Valg never gets named.
There is a reason he is never named, and I bet you.
No. The king is eventually named. His Valg is named.
Yes, he is eventually named, and that is a plot twist.
I love that. I love it. It's so cute. I love it.
You know.
I know.
Okay.
Wait. Just tell me. Sorry, I'm like.
This is what I've been wanting to tell you for months, and you wouldn't let me.
Well, wait. Don't tell me who it is, but like, is he someone that we like? Like, is he someone that I'm gonna read and be like, oh shit, it's this
You're
guy?
gonna cry.
You'll
You're gonna
cry.
cry.
Yeah, you'll cry.
You're gonna cry.
You're gonna
Like,
cry.
Do I know this character already?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's remember the king is possessed.
Okay.
So if he wasn't
It's a really
possessed,
tender moment, and it made me bawl my eyes out.
what would he be like if he wasn't possessed? Is the question.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm gonna just after we hang up, I'm just gonna sit and like read Dog all night. When do we find this out? What book?
King of the
KOA.
Bash.
Are you
Last one.
serious? It's the last book.
It's 1,000 pages too.
And this is hilarious because right when I started reading Tog and I already like looked up all this stuff, I told her this and she completely forgot a week later.
Me? Yeah.
I told you. I told
purposely
you what
expunged
happened
it.
and you forgot. No recollection whatsoever.
Like, I swear to God, we've never had this conversation before.
We've had it like 5 times. At least remember when I made my reel about the clock tower, how I said I was right about the clock tower?
Yeah.
Do you know what the clock tower is?
The witches. It's the witch thing, right? No, kinda.
Oh.
I'm trying to remember.
I know. It could be like Ansel's dad or something like that, like some like tiny.
No, remember I was talking about the rings and how I was like, oh, this person has a black ring on, and this person has a black ring on, and this person has a black ring on, and I'm like, these black rings are hella fucking sus, and why do they all have black rings on, and why are they acting weird? And I literally pointed that out beginning of Crown of Midnight, like at like the dance scene, like before the dance scene, where it was like Parrington was wearing an onyx ring, and I was like, he's fucking wearing one too. I knew it. So I said in my reel, when I was reading it in my reel, I said, are these fucking rings made out of the same thing that the clock tower is made out of? And if so, why is it making them act weird? And I was totally fucking on par. I was so right.
It was like a secret society.
I know. And also, can we give a quick RIP to Roland because he deserved some justice.
Wait, I don't know anything about Roland. Don't say it yet. I'm not saying it.
Oh my God. I almost cried, but I didn't. I was just very disappointed because he could have been a great character.
So he's kind of like Cormac. He's kind of like the Cormac of Tog, where he had a lot of potential.
Oh, he's nothing like Cormac. It was pretty final.
Yeah, he was there for like 2 seconds, and then
him and Kaltain.
I'm at the.
Him and Kaltain are the ones that get taken to Morath, and they put the rings on their fingers.
I keep thinking 7 Rings by Ariana Grande.
Yeah. Was it 7 people? I didn't even count. That would have been funny. Was it 7 people? Now that I think about it.
Dorian had.
He had the colors count. Colors and the rings were kind of the same.
Kaltain had a collar, I think.
Yeah. Collar, ring. That's 6. Oh, and then well, really, but not really. You know, that scene that everybody screamed at, and then it turned out that it wasn't really like that. Before a certain somebody kills a certain other somebody and finalizes them by chopping their head off.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh. I was enraged and I could not believe I fell for that fucking trap. I was like, I'm so stupid. Obviously, she's smarter than that. Well, in some aspects, she's smarter than that. But yeah, so technically there were 7 rings, but really there were 6 rings ish. I don't think there was another one.
Interesting.
I don't think
I
there
was
was a
gonna say-
7th.
If there's 7, that's interesting because there's 7 courts of Prithian and 7 of blah 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 and Crescent City.
I'm not fully convinced that Kaltain is dead either. But that's me.
The way that it went out was very similar to Kaltain.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's like, oh, it was the yielding. It was the yielding. It wasn't the yielding because the yielding is very specific. It wasn't.
She wasn't. She was just the fire wielder.
Shadow fire, literally like fucking Cormac.
Yeah.
Goes up in flames,
Yeah.
literally like fucking Cormac.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still under the impression that if not his mother, because now that we're figuring out the descendants shit, I still think that Kaltain is part of Azriel's line. Hence the shadow singer stuff, because Cormac was also a shadow singer. Could have been passed down from the remnants of the Valg. And we don't know who, like...
Do you think so too, Eka?
Because
that Kaltain is from Azriel's, yeah.
The fact that we don't know if they ever, like, made her breed and, like, if she ever actually had children, like, we don't know. Because they were waiting for those witches for a while. I don't feel like they were very patient. Right?
You know, after, like, years and years after reading Tog and, like, letting it all, like, leach into my brain, it's very Handmaid's Tale, the way that happened with the witches. And I'm
it's
just like...
weird that it's YA at that point.
Yeah.
Is what I...
Well, much opium is in Tog, yeah.
Opium, torture, blood and gore. Eventually, Rowena has fucking sex on the beach, literally. At some point.
Yeah.
But we can't know what Lorcan did. Can't cross that line. Fucking.
I want the cross. I need to know what Lorcan did.
Fuck.
How amazing would it be if she released like a bonus chapter that just was titled "What Lorcan Did" for like?
Can you imagine if that's what? Can you imagine if that's what the secret book was? Just a novella of what Lorcan did.
Nah, like this is my headcanon. Sarah has a secret AO3, and she just posts all these things.
Yes.
To be fair, I want to point out. To be fair, Throne of Glass was a Wattpad book that she wrote, originally titled Queen of Glass, right?
It was not on Wattpad, it's on fiction.net.
Oh, fiction.net, fiction.net, right. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, has she totally lost her roots? I don't know.
Why did she change up Dorian and Aelin and Rowan? Do we know?
Yes, we know. It has to do with why Dorian. It has to do with why Dorian doesn't look like the parents and who he looks like.
Okay.
And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing that we told you last time that you don't.
It's like new. It's like 51st Dates with Drew Barrymore. You could tell me shit about talking. I'm like, holy shit.
When I was reading the big scene, I went over the entire scene with you. Like it's season 1.
Wait, because there are big scenes.
The ghost scene.
Oh, that scene.
Mm-hmm. Where Dorian's like, do I want to be like him though? Because he's a fucking dick. It's like, wow, you're a dick. It was hilarious.
Meet your ancestor. Meet our ancestor because we're cousins.
It's like he was a dick and Elena was a dick and like they're all assholes. All the gods are assholes.
I feel like Elena was trying so hard to have a redemption arc that it was too late. And that's just sad.
I'm just mad that Aelin wanted to stand up for her because I would be petty. Like, you chose to send me to my death, bitch? Fuck you!
She regretted it afterwards. She regretted it afterwards. She began to love Aelin like her own children. And she was like, oh, she's so little and so innocent and she's strong and I don't want this.
But I'm not going to trade back at all. I actually kind of love when Aelin's like, just spare her, whatever, and Deanna's like, fuck this shit, and just...
And there's nothing to...
I was just laughing. Yeah, I was just laughing. I was like, oh, no chance for redemption now.
I wonder.
Just poof goes your soul. You're bye. Bye. You're gone. You're done.
I was thinking, I was thinking, what if it was Elena that smacked into Feyre's face as a star? But then I thought about it. I'm like, no, her existence was completely wiped out. So
Yeah.
what if it was one of the witches
There's 13
after the
stars.
yielding?
There's 13 stars.
Who would it have been? Like Astrid or somebody like that?
The 13, yeah.
Who the
Now
one
till
that-
now
I
till
feel
the
like Feyre?
now till the darkness claims us, the Night Court.
Oh,
Starfall.
yeah, that makes sense.
That's really fucking sad. You guys are gonna make me cry, and I haven't even read that part.
Honestly, I really hope that Loomis actually is Amren's father, but it would have been hilarious if like he like smacked her in the face. It was like, hey kid.
I love it. You guys, let me just go check my son because I don't see him in his bed. I'll be right back, okay?
That's yeah. But yeah, I do think that Nolan and Grayson could be part of Holland's line. I can't believe I didn't think of that before. I felt so smart. I was like, huh.
What about Vasa being part of Holland's line? Because she had hair, just like the mom, the queen.
She has like really orangey hair though. It's like orange red.
So it's not like
she has like light brown skin. So I don't know.
I found him.
so she looks like Lucian?
So she has light brown skin, freckles, orange red hair, and teal eyes. Bright blue cerulean eyes.
So she looks
Vasa?
like Gwen.
She looks like a mix of Gwen, Lucian, and Eris, honestly.
So
Because I
she's
think
fire-
Eris's hair is more orangey than Lucian's. Lucian's is more wine red, like his mom's. But yeah, she has like flaming orange hair, cerulean eyes that are like icy, whatever. The tan skin and like freckles. So like, yeah, she's like a mix of Feyre and Gwen and Lucian and Eris. It's so weird. She's like really pretty though. Really pretty. I had something I
What do you
really
guys think is gonna be her storyline? Like in your opinion, what do you think? Where's she going with Vasa? Tell me.
I feel like I don't know enough about Vasa.
Yeah.
I think there's two possibilities. And I will actually be shocked if she surprises us. I feel like she might, but right now I can only see two possibilities. And it's either one, and it's attached to the curse. So if they solve the curse, she'll go back to being human, queen, whatever. She'll get armies to help in the war, all that stuff. If they can't, depending on the curse, if they can't break it, she might be like the self-sacrificial character that's like, if, Lucian or someone, Jurian, I don't know, depending, someone could be like, if we kill him, you're going to die with him because you're attached to him. And I feel like she'll probably be like, kill him. Like, if you care about me, kill him.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like Swan Lake.
Yes.
Exactly. She's the Swan Lake story. So she's going to be,
She's also the Firebird story.
yeah,
Which is-
Vasilisa. Yeah, in Koshi. The myth of Koshi. She's Vasilisa, I think.
Wait a minute, Vasilisa is also connected to Baba Yaga.
I don't know all my myths straight, but yeah, there's a bunch.
What?
But yeah, she can either survive or she's either going to die with him, I think.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she might die with him, which is sad. But is that why they said Jurian is kingly? Because then he's just going to take over the mortal lands.
Yeah. What?
Guys.
What?
What? What?
Koshi's pond in the middle, where all the witches are. And Vasilisa, is connected to Baba Yaga, Baba Yellow Legs, which
Yeah. His lake
we're gonna
isn't in the middle though. I wish it was. It's on the continent somewhere. We don't know where. We're assuming that it's the Lapland that the bone
there?
carver talks about, but
Well, wait, okay, because I was noticing this in Tog, and I'm only in the first couple books, obviously, but like they use the term the continent too. So is there any way that Aylin's whole Fae side is the Fae on the continent that we haven't read about, and the island is like Akatar?
I think
Do you know what I mean?
I've considered that.
Have you thought about it? Like I guess that I guess it's not possible because she like falls through Akatar world, but
yeah, because they
I don't
said
know.
that like the planets are stacked on top of each other and they're different planets.
Weird because like they use the terminology of the continent a lot in Tog.
I think
really-
that's SJM, honestly.
Is it just her like
What else am I
repeating?
gonna call it?
Yeah. Okay.
What else is the big mass of land? Like she's just gonna call it the continent.
The continent.
But I do find it funny that she has so much world building in Tog. Like there's Melisande, there's Eelway, there's Anieth, there's like all these places. And then Springcourt, we get literally nothing, just the fucking manor and the glen.
I know.
We get
didn't think
fucking
about this before.
Valaris, Illyria, and Hewn City. And a nod to Sasir. Adriata, maybe. And
So
that's it.
the
The human
question
lands.
is
Scythia
she-
is where Vasa rules, but that's it.
is she being intentionally vague in Akatar because these we're gonna find pieces back to?
I don't know. I think she is with the names. I think she's being intent. If you know what I mean, Eka. Nameless is my price. But but I don't know about the world building part. Like, it's frustrating to me. Hybern.
Hybern?
Hybern, Valahan, Montesir, Rask. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you guys about. When Caitlin asked me a question about Mort today, I looked it up on my Kindle, and of course it's A Court of Frost and Starlight, which you always yell at me to reread, and I really don't, hardly ever. And so I didn't really remember this part. But it's about Mor. And oh no, is it no, maybe it was Akasif during Starfall. I don't remember. But anyway, Mora's telling them about her time trying to get them to sign the treaty. And when I said that this war is going to be awful, I didn't actually remember this part. But let me read it to you real quick. This is the only shit Mor ever says about her progress in Akasif, and it's not good.
Nope.
She says, Helion, the High Lord of the Day Court, Rhys's closest ally, had been the most involved. Helion's Spellcleaver was unrivaled in sheer swaggering arrogance. He'd probably made up the moniker himself. But the male had 1,000 libraries at his disposal and had put them all to good use for the treaty. So Helion helped them draw up the treaty, which I forgot. Good job.
Draw
Helion.
up the
new treaty.
that there's
Which
Hell,
people
hard as
really
shit.
don't know. Lucian, the politics guy, is his son. Come on. Lucian is like
Right.
a court-wide known emissary, like, please. And Helion's like,
He has-
sign this treaty. Please. But anyway, I've spent weeks in that blasted court, Moore said. Freezing my ass off, trying to kiss their cold asses, and their king and queen refused the treaty. I came home on the earlier side today because I knew any more last-minute pushing from me would be unwelcome. My time there was supposed to be a friendly visit, after all. Why won't they sign it? Because those stupid human queens are stirring. Their army isn't disbanded yet. The Queen of Valahan even asked me what the point of a peace treaty would be when another war, this time against the humans, might redraw the territory lines far below the wall. I don't think Valahan has any interest in peace or allying with us. So Valahan wants another war in order to add more to their territory. They'd already seized more than their fair share after the war 500 years ago. They're bored, Moore said, frowning with distaste. And then she says, the humans, despite those queens, are far weaker than we are. Pushing into human lands is low-hanging fruit. Montesir and Rask are likely thinking the same thing. And then it says, Cassian groaned skyward. That had been the fear during the recent war, that those 3 territories might ally with Hybern. Had they, there would have been no chance at all of survival. Keep that in mind. Now, even with Hybern's king dead, its people remained angry. An army might be raised again in Hybern. And if it united with Valahan, and if Montesir and Rask joined with the goal of claiming more territory for the humans, ... Because remember, they distracted Valahan and Montesir and Rask the first time because they basically, like, Azriel, like, spread little lies and had them turn on each other to distract them. Like, they know about this now, and they don't want to sign it.
Know about what?
They know about the new treaty, and they don't want to sign it. They want to take their land back from the humans, like Hybern did, like Koshi does. They're all going to fucking ally against the courts. This is going to be bloody. I told you Cassian was going to die.
Wait a second. We're going from like 0 to 100 real quick. Okay, so the human lands on the continent or on Prithian?
Both, because there was a wall. It goes across the sea.
Yeah, and it's on both. And they want to go below that wall.
They want to take their land
you're
back.
saying,
yeah.
So they are against the Fae in the 7 courts?
They're against signing a treaty that doesn't allow them to bother the humans. Because they
want to kill all of the humans.
And Moore said that Hybern's people, apparently he still has people. They just don't have a new king yet.
Oh,
they still have an army.
Oh my gosh.
I would imagine they still have a stash of Second Light to use, along with Koshi, along with the Mortal Queens, along with Baron and his army of fire whatever people. And then probably Ianthe's parents, let's be real.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Kingdom of Ash style war.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you tell Melanie to reread that Frost and Starlight all the time, Eka?
No, you do. You do.
Me?
You're like, you have to read A Court of Frost and Starlight.
But I yell at everybody about that.
I know.
I go on the internet and I'm like, everyone's like, do I have to read Frost and Starlight?
I know.
I'm like,
Yes, you have to read it. Yes.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, kind of afraid that there's gonna be like more than just 2 or 3 deaths. Like,
oh my god. Oh my gosh, you guys.
I swear to fuck, if she has a Spring Court book just to introduce Spring Court people and then kills Tamlin in this war.
I was just gonna, we're all over here like Spring Court. Yeah, we're doing the book. And she's gonna kill him off. Oh my god, you guys, she's gonna do it. Holy shit, this is what's happening.
She's gonna kill Cassian. She's gonna kill Helion. She might kill Tamlin. She is definitely gonna kill off the rest of Lucian's disgusting brothers. Probably Baron, obviously.
Well, yeah.
The rest
But
of the
I think
mortal
she's-
queens, let's be real. Probably
gonna kill
Nasa.
She's gonna kill off Eris.
Yes, I said that too.
I don't think she's gonna
Eris?
kill off Eris because there's no other heir. She would be better off killing off
Yeah,
the other
it-
brothers because she didn't name them.
I think Eris is dead. It's gonna be, he's like Gabriel and like Gwen is like what's his name, Adian or something. And
Gwen
Gwen's
is-
gonna take over the court. I'm calling it right now.
She's not gonna have any females take over any of the courts except Dusk. I'm telling you right now. There's no way.
I don't
And
know.
if so, then she's just gonna introduce Tamlin's mate, Briar, and then she's gonna fucking kill him off, and then Briar's gonna be the fucking High Lady of Spring.
That's gonna be lame.
That's what I said. It's
It's
super
gonna be lame if she kills Eris because we don't know any fucking buddy from Autumn either.
Yeah, I know.
She can't really world build Autumn and Spring. She's gonna have to pick one, and we know that she's gonna have to world build Spring because they're the ones near the wall. Again, the ones near the wall. Across from Hybern. Hybern's gonna just dock in his shores again. This dude, he's gonna be like, what is the point of trying to better my court when they're going to run through it again?
Summer Court is pissed, as they should be.
I'm more annoyed that the Winter Court isn't pissed too. They're side by
Yeah.
side.
You
Especially
think, right?
Especially because Vivian was fucking pregnant too. They have a new baby now. They'll have a new baby now. So I kind of want to see like feral Callius so badly.
Oh,
They talk
I
about like
love
how
Callius.
icy and how like cold he is, except for with his mate when he's like super mushy and it's adorable. But like having a mate and a new baby and this fucking war, like these fucking people think they're gonna trample through your court.
She's gonna be like Irene.
Maybe. But see, here's the thing too. If Vivian like just gave birth, I would assume she's not going to be active captain of the guard. So they're not going to be ready either.
I don't know. Irene was pretty active despite being like what, 8 months pregnant.
True. I
And
mean, she did murder a certain somebody when she was fucking pregnant. And Kale was like, what the fuck?
she was sending him healing magic so he could walk and run, and she was also pregnant and
The
also
whole time. And she was also like killing a Valg.
right? Like what kind of coffee is she drinking? I want some.
send it my way too.
She has those super baby jeans. She has a little
Another
Jack
Nyx.
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think about that Nyx comment like all the time where he just like poof disappears and he's back in Tamlin's court. Tamlin's like, what the fuck?
That is a headcanon though. Like
It is. I want to see it again. He like goes disappearing in the walls of the night court. And the Feyre's like, what?
And he just has like this maniacal baby laughter, like, yeah.
Laughing, going between the walls.
So I had a question for you guys. Well, question/comment. So do you guys follow the Caro show? How she's obsessed with Kale? I think you've seen her.
I just found her.
I love her. She's amazing. She's awesome. She likes Tamlin. She likes Adian. She likes Kale. All those people. So she put on Threads the other day, which I was like, me too, though. She put, this line has been rotting in a corner of my brain for years, and it's the line that says, Mor is who I'll call in when the armies fail and Cassian and Azriel are both dead. And
Yeah.
my reply to this, because when I saw this thread, this is the first immediate thought that popped into my brain. I could see it clearly like a movie in my head at this moment. So the Valkyries are fighting, right? Cass and Az are both fucking struck with Koshi's death magic, right? Something happens.
I don't like where this is
Perhaps,
I don't like it.
yeah, right. And maybe for some reason, Because, let's be honest, Sarah loves to make shit up on the fly. For some reason, Nesta can't really help that. I mean, Nesta doesn't have healing magic, but perhaps they can't be healed, right? Or Nesta can wield the trove, but only once at a time. Because, I mean, I would imagine that, like, the mask and everything can be used, but then, like, can't be used for, like, a little period of time. Like it's rejuicing itself, I
Okay.
guess.
Yep.
So, I put, what if Nesta can only save one of them? Cassian is already fully dead, and Gwen is sobbing, and Azriel still has a tiny bit of a pulse, and she has to make the choice to save Az.
Piggybacking off of that, I think they might all assume that Az is dead because they can't find him. Because remember that one Rhys POV where
That was Cassian. He couldn't find Cassian.
he couldn't find Az either.
Didn't he say that Az was off? He said that Az was off spying for his father.
I thought he said he couldn't find any of, like, he couldn't find either of his brothers.
Well, he said, he's like, oh, I was looking for Cassian's face, and then he said Az was probably off on some spy mission for his father, but he hadn't seen either of them in months. That's
Is this the chapter where he's on the battlefield looking through the dead bodies?
for
Holy
Cassian's
shit,
face?
holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, for Cassian's face.
You guys.
So
Okay.
I think that Az is going to be missing. Nobody knows where he is. They don't know if he's dead. They don't know if he's alive. And
He's gonna be in the lake, and then that's how we're gonna get the Little Mermaid thing with Gwen, I bet, maybe. Perhaps.
no, I think he's going to be missing. Nobody knows where he is, and they're going to assume he's dead. And that's when Moore comes out and she goes full on Raven.
Okay, so you guys just like connected some major dots for me. And I want you, I don't know if this is like obvious and I'm just figuring it out. So I know we all talked about how random that chapter was where Rhys was like going through the bodies, right?
It's a
And-
foreshadow. It is a glaring foreshadow.
So what if it's the war to come and not the war that happened in the past? And what we're seeing is Rhys like time traveling, and that's why Rhys was watching Feyre like do the bow. So it's like
You
one long
said that.
continuation.
You
Did
said
I say
this
that?
before. Yeah. On the
Oh.
finale, when we were talking about how many people were going to be dead, and then she was going to end the book there in Hofas, and it didn't happen. But no, because the chapter starts with like 500 years ago or something like that. It says.
Okay, I did say that. Okay, never mind.
I
But, like,
wish it didn't, because it would have been way better if she just threw that in and it was the future war.
Wait
I
a
wish
minute.
to fuck if she didn't confirm that it was.
Wait. If Rhys has time travel powers, and so in a way he's kind of like a seer, that makes sense with your theory that he and Elaine are going to be besties.
Mm-hmm. And I hate it so much.
Oh, yeah.
I
They're
literally hate it so much.
They're totally gonna be besties. I know.
Well, especially from
I think they're going to be besties, and Elaine is going to kick his ass and be like, you need to get your shit together. And Rhys is going to be like, excuse me?
I told you, I have Elaine slap him across the face in my fic. Because she sees everything he did under the mountain. And she's like, hold on. And Lucian's like, no, don't go down there. Elaine, stop. And she's like, wait. She's like, I need to talk to this motherfucker. And Elaine goes all fair. She literally slaps him across the face. And then she shows everybody what he did under the mountain, because obviously he wasn't going to tell everybody what happened under the mountain. And then I have Az and Cassian beat him up, and it's lovely. But yeah.
She does go feral for her sister. She did go feral for Nesta during the war.
Don't you touch my sister.
I was loving it. So I think
I loved it.
feral for Feyre.
Well, I think the Phazan bonus scene was a big glaring foreshadow of that too.
What? Which part of it?
When
Yes, which
Rhys
part?
was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe Nesta wasn't wrong about that or whatever, and Feyre goes, you think Elaine is boring? And he's like, I think she's kind, and that's better than being, bitchy like Nesta. But I also think that there's more to Elaine that we haven't seen yet.
But also though, Elaine is gonna be the link between Tamlin and Rhysand.
Hmm.
She's gonna be the healing whatever between the two of them. I'm telling you.
She's the
She's gonna be-
midpoint of, Phazan, Tamlin, Lucian.
He's going to be the glue that keeps everybody together.
Luella and Caradwyn too.
She has been the glue that has kept everybody together.
Yeah.
In her role.
Yeah.
She was into, just like Nesta, she was forced into a parental role. Like, got it. Okay, I got to rant now. It's my turn to rant because this pisses me off. Everyone. She do anything. She could have.
Do you want warm milk, Elaine? Shut up, Feyre. Why the fuck would she want warm milk?
Like, everyone gets on Nesta because she didn't do anything. Yes, she did. She cooked.
She cooked, she cleaned, she chopped the wood, she did the laundry. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And like people get on a list saying, oh, well, she could have grew potatoes. And it's just like, first off, all these girls, not just Feyre, but all these girls, neither one of them should have had to be the parent. That was Papa Arch.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's impressive. I wish I
I
knew.
know, right?
I was like, go Echo.
Impressive.
I'm very
You know what
impressive.
would be cool? Not that
What?
she could really portray it too well because it's SJM, but if there was like a deaf fae,
If there was a what?
like a deaf fairy.
That would be so. Write it in your book, girl. Write it in your book.
I have
Oh,
RP. I have RP deaf people, but I literally just put like, and they signed to them because I don't know what the fuck. But
You're
I
like,
want to know.
well, now we have a resource that we can ask.
I want Tamlin to know
We'll be like,
fae
I gotta
sign
read this.
language.
That'd be cool.
Oh my god, I love that. So, hello, ma'am. You have a skill that you did not tell any of us with sign
Excuse us.
language.
I'm married to, of course.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I
Excuse
did not
us.
know this.
I know a little bit.
You're
I know
over
a little
here.
I need to get
Like,
better.
I know, you're over here like signing out like paragraphs, and we're like,
What's happening?
that was amazing. Are you kidding?
Oh
Thank
my
you.
god.
Very impressive.
That's
God, like
awesome.
everybody has these cool things that they could do. I'm like over here with nothing.
I can't do anything cool either.
You have like Energizer Bunny
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
I
And
wish.
your writing is like phenomenal. You know, you have such a freaking talent. You both do. It's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing to watch. So
My book is a trash fire. You have no idea how many times I've wanted to just fucking delete it.
don't do it.
Oh,
Don't do it.
I'm
I finally
I'm
got to
about
chapter.
halfway through the outline, I think.
Yeah,
The rest
I-
of the outline.
I'm about 75% done with my outline.
So do you both outline your books before you write it?
I try
No. Okay.
point, but it's become so vague that I will panic and then my brain shuts off. And then it's like, shit. Like, even though I put stuff in it, it's like my brain shuts off and then it goes a completely different direction. So, like, I'm trying to make this extensive outline be super freaking detailed so that it's like, okay, if anything, I can cut and paste because there is some dialogue and then I can just like draft.
Yeah.
And I know how it
Yeah.
ends.
I
Or
know.
I know what the intention is.
I thought I knew
So-
how mine was gonna end,
Wow.
and I keep not changing it, but I keep going back and forth about where it should end. And I've changed a bunch of scenes, and like I got to a point where I was like, if I keep writing scenes that pop into my head, I'm never going to actually finish this book. It's just gonna keep going forever and forever and forever. So I need to write down before I forget everything that I've been leading up to, and then break it down into the chapters. So I literally just did like chapter and then like the bullet points of the like 3 to 4 things that I have to cover in each chapter because my chapters are like 4,500 words. Between
Like, you have to storyboard and then you do the outline that's super detailed and then you do the draft.
I just went full in using my head for 140,000 words, and now I'm like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. So,
I'm
yeah, but I
like-
have to make up like lore and
I'm gonna have 80 chapters for the first
No-
book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, you got
how long are your
home.
chapters?
I don't know yet. Some of them are gonna be pretty long. Some of them are gonna be short.
Yeah,
Some of them
I
are-
try to keep mine around like 4,000 ish, but some are like 2,500, some are like 4,500. It really depends on where you want to end the scene. But I've also been like titling my chapters, and I feel like an old lady. Like, do people not do that anymore? I feel like I have to title my chapter before I write it.
Okay, first of all, talking to a fellow millennial. Love
Nobody does it anymore.
Are you serious? What the?
Sarah J.
What?
Maas does not title her chapters. They're just numbers.
No, she doesn't.
They're
She
just
titled Wings and Embers though, and I was like,
the bonus chapters have. Well, just that one. Weird.
just that one. Weird, right?
weird.
Weird. But also,
What kind of embers?
Yeah.
Orange ones?
that's why did she know back then that she was gonna write Bryce's mom as such a significant character to Nesta?
No idea. Weird.
Oh, also, I wanted to ask you guys a question real quick because I see my son stirring, so I'm gonna have to go. And plus, it's late. But in that writing class, I have two questions for you. In that writing class, Rebecca Ross was talking about how when you write a book, it depends on like how many acts you want in it. Did you guys know this already? So she was, yeah, it's like basic 101.
Well, I have
Yes.
Well, I might have to do a fifth because each of my acts have like 8 chapters, which is kind of random, but each of them have 8. And I went 31 and I'm on 36 right now. So there's definitely gonna have to be another 1 or 2 acts.
Wait, how many acts do you each have? 4?
Right now I have
4.
4.
4? Okay. Okay. She was talking about how like sometimes she'll do the 3, the peak, and then she'll do a diamond to where everything comes back to the beginning. And I was like, holy shit, I just never even knew about this type of stuff.
I literally just wanted to break up like
I
like
want to break up the act into 2 halves.
yeah. So if I can pull it up. I titled my acts. I don't really know why I did. I just did.
I did too.
But like
You should. It's like dramatic effect. I don't know.
so like my
Yeah.
first part was like how worlds collide. And like
Love it. Love it.
part 2 is a lifelong plot because it was like the plot to take them down and it's kind of getting into the beef of things. And act 3 is crown and curse. And then I'm on 4, which is hitches and happily ever ...
Ooh.
But I might have to change it. I might have to change that one and bump it up to 5.
I love that. You guys, we should all be like readers of each other's books if like we get them out on time and just like swap like chapter for chapter.
Yes. Each other's
And then
first
be like-
arcs. First arc.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Oh. Yeah, let's do it.
Definitely. I had a question.
I'm all about it.
Well, kind of a question. I had a little bit of a theory that I was kind of excited to talk about, and then I forgot when we ranted about Tog. But you know how I felt so smart when I thought of this, okay? It was just me yesterday, middle of the night, 3 a.m. And I was like, when I thought of it, in the middle of the night. So you know how there's the 3 stars over Ramiel?
Mhm.
And it's like, I think they have names, but you know. It's like the big
They do.
thing. It's during the Blood Rite, you know. And so we know technically that the Blood Rite was the original war when they, got all of the Asteria out of the world, and that's why the black monolith is there. Tog reference. Wordstone, in case you didn't know, it's a portal.
Clock
And
tower.
so I was thinking, like, what could the 3 stars represent, like in terms of fate or whatever, and like history repeating itself, right? And so I was thinking of Bryce and Nesta, and I was like, okay, well, if, Bryce was the starborn heir of Lunathian, right? And then Lauren was technically the starborn heir of Prithian. And if the Archerons have some sort of blood, DNA, genetics from the Tog world, and Nesta is now the next starborn heir, do the 3 stars represent the 3 starborn heirs, the 3 starborn females watching over the Blood Rite?
That could be.
Interesting.
Because there's like the bright one, like the super bright one, which I would imagine to be Lauren if she was the original from Prithian, and then like Bryce.
I also
connect to each
which
other.
is, I think it could be the triple faced goddess. I
Yeah.
think it will be the 3 Iron Teeth clans.
But here's my thing. I said Koshi is said to be deathless, so what if it takes all 3 starborn females to defeat him?
So would Manon be the starborn heir of Tog?
I don't know. I was thinking more Nesta if they have any witch
But
blood
she's not-
from Tog.
It would have to be from Tog.
Well, they could just be a bloodline from Tog. I mean, it could be
So-
Tamlin. It could be Tamlin, technically.
That'd be awesome.
But I was going with the female thing.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool if it was like Lauren, Nesta, and Bryce like having to defeat Koshi with like the Valkyries and the Bat Boys and everyone behind them. I think that would just be so epic.
Well, obviously, but that's not what we got. That was supposed to already happen.
Maybe it'll happen in this war.
But I haven't read this far, but like Manon, doesn't she have like a crown of like stars that sounds like
She
it's like Feyre's crown, right?
Rhys's crown of stars is the same as Manon's.
Is she the starborn heir?
Could be. Bryce,
become
Nesta, and
stars.
Manon. Oh my God, huh?
Witches become stars, so like she would be a starborn queen. So it would be Lauren, Bryce, and Manon, right?
Well,
'Cause
Lauren left, so technically it would be Nesta now, so it would be Bryce, Nesta, and Manon.
But Nesta's not the original Starboard.
No, but she is now. Go figure out why. She is now.
She's Lauren's heir.
Yeah, she's Lauren's heir, technically, because she left that world.
Why would Lauren pick her as the heir? I don't understand.
Well, she didn't pick her, but they needed a replacement for her because she's no longer in that world.
It's kind of like with the High Lords, where it goes to the next
most
possible powerful person. The same for the Starborn heirs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
and
because she only had a son, she only had Rune.
Yeah, and it has to be female. And the thing is, with witches, most of the time they only have their witchlings are female, unless it's a random every so often there's a Croakan prince.
Mm-hmm.
So witches could definitely be Starborn, and I think Manon is Starborn. I think that's also why her grandmother was so up her ass about certain things, because he has a lot more going on than
that would make sense, because she immediately hated the Valg, like immediately hated the Valg,
and she wanted black bloods from Handmaiden's Tale.
Yeah. But see, then there's the thing that sticks out to me in Crescent City, where when Hypaxia and Ethan visit the Bone Quarter, and I know the Underking was basically like a Barrow White or whatever the fuck, the other type of little Valg monster from Tog, but Ethan looks at him and it says that like his blood's saying to him, enemy, enemy, enemy. So I'm like, who is Ethan descended from? Did Manon have like ice, wind, snow powers? Rowan doesn't have snow powers. I thought that originally. He only has wind.
Who is it, Eka?
Who the fuck has snow powers?
Dorian. He has ice magic. He has shapeshifting magic.
Really?
Fucking is you guys. Yeah. You cannot tell me the next book is a Minorian book. There's no way it's not. So Manon and Dorian then had to have gone to Crescent City, right?
Or their descendant did. The Starborn can world hop. So did Manon ever learn how to world hop? We don't know. It's gonna be in her novella, right? Also, I want to point out that Ethan actually looks like Holland. I didn't think about that.
Uh-huh.
He has like the brown gold hair and the brown eyes.
What?
Yeah.
And he's a wolf.
Yeah.
Well, prime now, but he was a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
But how does that trickle down though? Oh, well, because as far as we know, he's actually a werewolf and he can only shift into a wolf, right?
But everyone just got the antidote, so.
But then there's the thing of Harry being the one that smells weird. Which, wouldn't it make more sense if it was Ethan who smelled weird because he was actually like a raw shapeshifter like Tamlin and not just a wolf? I don't know.
Y'all need to read Tog.
Tell me.
I'm literally gonna get off and go read it.
No, I have one more question for you.
Well, and Logan's waking up.
One more.
Okay, real quick.
Quick. When do you guys think was the moment that Tamlin got his beast?
Wait, what? I didn't get that. You blipped out.
What was the moment do you think Tamlin got his beast or like shifted for the first time? Because we know that he was always a shapeshifter, even as a kid. So do you think there was like one pivotal moment where he freaked out and realized that he had that beast form? I personally think that it was when his mom was killed, like after Rhys left. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it would be cute if he was like shifting as like a little kid and like a little puppy beast was like roaming around. But what do you guys think? When do you think that he realized he had this other gift / form? Because his father did not, and that's why his father's court hated him.
Wait, his father did not know that he was. I thought his father knew he was a shifter. And
no, his father knew, but his father wasn't a shifter. That's why his court hated Tamlin. They're like, we would never bow down to a beast as a High Lord. So he had that beast form before he was High Lord.
Did Rhys know when they were hanging out and Rhys was kind of letting him shadow behind him?
He had to have, because he's the one that tells Feyre that like, oh, your Tamlin has raw shapeshifting magic. Oh, that's where you get your raw shapeshifting magic from. Yeah. And then she's like making wings and making all this. So I don't know.
I used to think about that, and I was like convinced that he had, it was like near the Starlight Pool for some reason. And he was like out one afternoon because he loved it. That was his place. And like he was out there when he shifted the first time. I don't know. Just stupid stuff. That's what I think. I think he was a kid.
Mine was so, because I wrote mine into my fic, and it was so just bloody and him sobbing and raging as he's burying his mother's body, and he gets so physically upset that he like his claws come out and he actually shifts because
Oh, that's good too.
he physically couldn't handle the pain of it. And
I
that's why he shifts into his beast when he can't handle his feelings.
I think he shifted before that. I think because he kind of alludes to his father kind of being physically violent towards his mom. And so I
All
think
of them, technically, yeah. He's like, oh, he used to beat and hurt humans for fun, and so would my brothers, and
that's what got him shifting to protect humans, to
and
protect his
himself. Yeah, his mom.
His
mom.
mom.
And, you know,
Yes.
maybe that's why the father decided to drag him to Hybern with him. To be like, oh, you'll be my bodyguard, kid. In case they want to
Maybe.
fucking attack me for political shit.
Interesting.
I feel like Amaranth had a kink.
Amarantha did.
We literally, Melody and I talked about this like I think it was like a while ago, but we were like, she missed out on such an amazing like opportunity in Smut because he's like a shifter. Like, how who has read Bride by Ali Hazelwood? Because it was phenomenal.
I've read I've read
I'm
so many werewolf books. I started with werewolf books.
So
they're,
good.
They're amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, I gotta go, you guys. I love you both, but he's awake and like doing crazy things.
Bye. Now you can tell me the Tog shit. Tell me.
Okay. So Dorian has raw shape-shifting magic.
I knew that, but I didn't know that, like, is it the same as like Fae, or does it matter if you're Fae or human?
Is it
different?
raw? It's raw. It's
So
like
is Lysandra's, right?
no, it's like feyre's.
But Lysandra could be anything too, right?
Yeah, she can be anything. She has specific proclivities.
Because hers was raw too, because she could be like a ghost leopard and then like a sea lizard and then like fucking whatever. And everyone else just had like a bird or like a lion.
And she does
Gabriel.
her form.
You cut
She
out
was
for a
like
minute. What did you say?
7 years old and had she
Oh.
doesn't remember her form.
Yeah.
She was like 7 years old and had the body of a grown woman, and she doesn't even remember what she really looks like. She just has the green eyes.
She's like, I just remember that I was plain. I was like, Lysandra. But yeah, I
has the emerald green eyes just like Tamlin.
the wind magic like Rowan, the shapeshifting of Lysandra, Aylin's ring, Adian's personality and fiddle skills. Literally.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Ethan might be from Dorian's line as well.
I can see that. Literally, the family wreath just keeps getting plusher and plusher. We went over how it was only Bellius, Devlon, and Tamlin that pointed out that Nesta was a witch and like immediately identified it. Which it's kind of like two of them are Illyrian, and then Tamlin. Like Tamlin, I kind of get if he's descended from the Tog world, but like the Illyrians, I didn't know until obviously CC3, and we're like, oh, were they made with the witches by the the Asteri in the middle? Because she was talking about Analius, and then she gave Analius the knife, which you really fucked yourself over, Vesperus. Why the fuck would you give any of your creations a knife that can kill you?
Maybe she was trying to keep balance. Like, I keep coming back, like, why Valg and Asteri keep going after the Starborn.
Yeah.
It's like the magnetic, like, negative need for balance.
Yeah, it's the consistent good versus evil, eternal cycle, life and death, heaven and hell.
And, like, it's so ingrained into their essence, their being, their existence, that they can't fight it. Like, they're powerful, but they can't fight that natural instinct of light calls to light, light calls to unlight, unlight calls to light.
But see, that's the thing. Tamlin and Rhys, Starborn and Valg.
Yeah.
And even day and night. I don't know if Helian's really as an ally as Rhys thinks, or if Helian just has the drop on him and knows everything from his libraries.
Here's what I don't get.
Because the sun symbol of his court is also one of the Starborn symbols. Like, it's on the grove. It was in the Dusk Court, not just the star, but the sun was there too. So,
because like he is all about Hellion, but he's really suspicious about Lucian.
This is where I think Helion and Lucian are super similar, and not only in just the way that they handle their pain, but they're super similar because they mask their true intentions perfectly with how people expect them to act. So, everyone calls Lucian the clever fox. Everyone thinks he's funny. He's gonna make the jokes. He's gonna be the emissary, the courtier. He's gonna be the polite one. He's gonna be the one that can, like, you know, poke and prod you until you loosen up a little. And that's how Helion is. And everyone's like, oh, Helion, oh, Lucian. But under the surface, they're like, I know this, and this about you, and it's tucked away in case you ever fuck me over. And they're a lot smarter and a lot more, like, cunning than people realize, because they look at, you know, the funny, outgoing, kind of arrogant, clever people that Helion and Lucian are, and they come off as very non-threatening. And I think that's the whole point. And that's how Lucian has been able to hide his magic so well this entire time, because he's hiding a ton of power, as we know.
Mhm.
And that's how Helion has been able to hide the fact that he's Lady A's mate this entire time, because it's important. And when it's important, they figure out how to do shit, and they do it, and they cover it up with their jokes and their fake arrogance. And I don't know, I'm like,
Orgies.
yeah. I mean, before Lucian knew about Elaine, Tamlin's like, I caught you on the border patrol with company. And then he was just laughing. Like, she was pretty.
Like, but okay, so I feel like maybe Rhys feels that Tamlin is his opposite, but really it's Lucian.
Or
And I think
Helion.
he's realized now, and he is extremely startled because his mate's sister is the mate to his true opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And that and he is just as powerful as he is.
But that would also make Elaine his opposite.
Well, that's why they'd be good besties.
I know. That's the thing. Like, it's like calls to like, but it's like a very specific, like, subset of traits that will draw you to someone. Like Elaine and Azriel right now. They're both quiet, they're both mysterious, they both kind of have their own personal lives. They're both lonely, desperate, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, his shadows are afraid of the sun, and she opens all the curtains because any bit of darkness is aberrant. So you have this constant push and pull of yin and yang, but there's always that little dot of darkness in the light and lightness in the dark.
She also hangs out with the twin shadow rays.
Yeah, the shadow wraiths, yeah. Because she's light, so, like, you know, there's always that little speck of allure to the opposite, I think. Even if it's not ultimately what's going to mesh with you the best.
There was a theory I saw somewhere where she considers Nuala and Caradwyn her sisters, similar to how Nesta considers the Valkyrie sisters, because Elaine herself feels like a shadow. She has felt invisible, and that just felt.
Which is why I think that's her power on SJM's new list, the invisibility. And that's why she can scare Nesta in the library, and why she just popped up behind Highburn.
Doesn't Lucian also kind of have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucian and Elaine and Azriel are the three that, like, just kind of pop up on people.
Does Gwen do it too?
Oh, yeah, Gwen does it too in the library, yeah.
Does it a little bit.
A little bit. But, like, Lucian in particular is just funny because, like, if he doesn't have invisibility and he doesn't have shadows, he's just really quiet. He's just really fox-like, really stealthy.
Yeah.
Except for when he runs his mouth.
And Hellion is kind of like a fox, because another connotation with foxes is that they're very how do I put this? Slutty.
Yeah. Don't they have like whole don't they have like whole dens and dens? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was I saw a comment on was it the Vassian post? No, it might have been another post earlier. Oh, it was a poll. It was a poll on who you think was going to be endgame, and obviously Lucian and Gwynriel were winning. Duh.
Oh yeah.
But there was a comment of someone saying, like, well, I saw that Elaine wore, I think it was like the cobalt dress when she met Azriel, and it was supposed to match his siphons or whatever. Whatever. And then someone else under that mentioned, like, oh, well, she was wearing the amethyst dress and something to do with Azriel. I forget the whole comment. But then I just put, it's funny because you guys are forgetting that the Day Court entourage colors are cobalt, amethyst, and crimson. And I can bet yo asses that she's going to be wearing crimson in the next book. And then someone's like, well, she could still reject the bond. And I was like, you realize the bond is literally a verbal courtesy. It's going to do nothing. She can always change her mind. And then they just responded with, true. Yeah, it is true.
True. The priestess's little crystal is cobalt.
The invoking stones, yeah. Gwen
Invoking is literally a siphon, just like Azriel's siphon.
I don't know if you got to watch the last episode yet, did you?
I don't remember.
So we were talking about the part in Akasif when Gwen and Nesta are in the library, and Nesta is creeped up upon by the darkness below level 7 or 5 or whatever it was. She was on level 5. And
I think it was level.
yeah, where she was trying to shelve the books, and Gwen appears, and me and Olivia were going over how that was Adis and Apollyon, because it said one was cat-like, and then one was like holy dark, like the depths of the pit, or whatever. Duh, Adis and Apollyon.
Yeah.
And so Gwen is like, go, 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 and she uses the invoking stone, which begins to glow to push the darkness back, like to push the princes back. And I said that I think the invoking stone and maybe even siphons are have dragon fire in them. Are powered with dragon fire. Because it like glowed, it pushed the princes back, and then it dimmed when they were gone. Like it went out when they were gone. And we know that dragon fire is the only thing that can kill a prince of hell.
That's what I'm curious about, because Illyrian, but he's also Starborn. So does he have magic aside of the siphons that help him draw out? Does he have other magic that he's just hiding?
Yeah,
Because
he has the shadows that he can wield as weapons. But like how they went after Bryce and they were like literally going after her, like trying to grab her arms and shit. Like binds. I thought that was really cool. I was like, yes,
like
he finally uses his shadows. But also kinky.
kinky, like
Gwen, you have so much to look forward to.
He's gonna end up reading smut books.
Did you hear that theory that Helion is the fucking author of the Valkyrie smut book? That it's his pen name.
I love that.
Oh my god. Oh my
I
god.
love that so much. Wait, does Mora read those books, or is she just getting drunk?
She's just getting drunk, of course. Selin Drake, yeah, Selin Drake. I was like, huh.
Wait, Selin Drake.
Yeah.
Drake.
Drake on dragon.
What if it's Drake on writing the smutty books?
Selin Drake. That would be hilarious. But yeah, and like the one thing I can't figure out, which I'm kind of annoyed at, which I've guessed that it was Meryl, but I'm not totally sure, is like who Ariadne was sold to and who she was with the entirety of CC3 until she pops up at the end. Because the Viper Queen is like, I got another buyer. And then she was like, gone. What? Could be. Because again, fucking dragon is the only thing that can kill a Prince of Hell.
Wait a minute. So do you think Koshi is a Prince of Hell?
No, but Thanatos is in Prythian, as we know. Adis and Apollyon were in Prythian. They were checking up on Nesta to see that she was the next Starborn heir after Thea, clearly.
Adis just rubs himself against her leg, and she's just like, oh.
She's like, I smell Thea on you. Just like Bryce.
Like, I smell lady on you. You're a good person. I like you.
And Apollyon is like, no, step away from the female lookalike.
and Nessa's just like,
but yeah, but that just leads back to my annoyance at who the fuck Clotho is again. Because nobody goes below level 7. Well, she does. She does, and she sent Nesta to level 5. So what the fuck?
For a reason.
For a reason. What was the reason?
Because she's like, the Princes of Hell want to meet you. Go.
They want to make sure that you're actually the heir and I'm helping the right person.
I think that's what happens. I think that's what happens. And Meryl is just clueless, and she's angry about it and taking it out on Gwen. And Meryl's like, Clotho, you need to keep me updated. What's going on? And Clotho's just like, la, la, la,
I have a plan. Also, it was Cassian that got there first when they were being attacked. What if that was Clotho's like try at like getting him killed? She's like, this man is meant to die. He's almost died 3 times already. He's gonna almost die another 4 times. But if he dies now, that takes one problem off my plate. She won't fall for this male, and she won't be in a fake mating situation, and it won't cause extra problems for this upcoming war. And yet he escaped Bryaxis again.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I think so. He's like, why won't you fucking die?
You've seen Charmed, right?
Maybe one or
some-
two episodes.
So there is an episode in, I believe it's season 7, where Phoebe has this boyfriend, this mortal guy, Miles, and she keeps getting premonitions of his death. And so every single time she keeps stopping his death. And every single
Oh,
time she keeps getting
Ah.
another premonition of his death. And so it turns out that
Yeah.
like you can't change fate. Like he was always meant to die. Like it doesn't matter how many times you keep saving him, eventually it's going to happen. And like Nesta has saved Cassian 6 times. We know that SJM's number is 7. He was meant to die, Nesta. He was meant to die. The first time at the cauldron scene when his wings were shredded. And
that's
then
why Cormac is alive, because he was not meant to die. He was meant to rule.
to rule. Yeah, with Nesta. Exactly. Exactly. So we have the first time in the cauldron scene when his wings are shredded. We have when Nesta screams in the war. We have when he gets attacked in the war and he gets like kind of sliced and diced. I guess not fatally, but then he has to
Guts fall out.
not fatally, but fatally. His guts are hanging out like an alias. Hello! Everyone says he's an alias. They have to like bind him back together. And then again, when Nesta throws her body over him, when they're at the cauldron again in front of Highburn. And then we have I listed these out before, but then we have I'm trying to think, Akasif, Akaphas, Akawar. We have Lanthus, where he has the broken arm and the cracked skull and the broken wings again. And then we have yeah,
How
that's
does this-
5. And then we have Breelyn, when Breelyn tells him to kill, and he turns the knife on himself. That's 6.
not have
Huh?
like, how does this man not have arthritis?
No, Rhys has arthritis in his knees.
Yeah, like arthritis in his knees. How does Cassian not have arthritis?
Cassian has allergies and a severe case of multiple concussions. That's
Oh, yeah.
why he is the way he is. You can heal a skull, but not a brain. But yeah,
I know.
6 fucking times. And she was there every single time to prevent it.
Mhm.
Nesta, she's not going to be able to stop it the next time.
Even
Unholy
Elaine,
number 7.
even Elaine said that.
Yep.
I just saw something.
No, it will not take getting your wings shredded again.
Book 7. Book 7 is when Cassian dies.
Yeah, the heat of the war. The fucking
Yeah.
heat of the war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they're both gonna get attacked. He's just gonna go down like a fucking sack of lead potatoes. Or he gets
Okay,
to say one thing before he dies when he's all bloody and he's like, I love you to Nesta. And that's their little fucking I love you before he dies. I swear that's gonna be his last 3 words to her. I swear to fuck. She's waiting. She's waiting to pull out the I love you until he's actually gonna die.
Mhm.
Swear to God. Mark my words.
With Cormac, do we think that the Princes of Hell are trying to secure him and make sure he didn't die, make sure he got to Prythian safely?
Maybe they were helping him. Do we think that they were no, well, I don't know, because it was Rigelus in Adis's cat form in the apartment that saw Cormac. It wasn't actually Adis. But maybe, I would imagine that Cormac, knowing all the history about Peleus and Helena and shit, I would imagine that he would know how to summon a Prince of Hell. So maybe he got in contact with Thanatos in Hewn City. I don't know.
So do we still think that the shadow that Moore saw, if that was Cormac or Thanatos?
I think that was Cormac. I think because he was shot with the Gorsian bullet, the only like form he could really take was his shadow form. Like another Charmed reference. Sorry guys, but like for example, when when Cole is attacked and he gets like a huge chunk of flesh, cut out of him from Piper, he is like he is, super weak. And when he's super weak, he can't really keep his human form. So he reverts back to his demon form. So I'm thinking that when Cormac is like super weak, he kind of reverts to his shadow form. And that's why he was the sleeping shadow that Moore saw.
Because he's trying to recuperate.
Conserve
Aw.
energy. Yeah, I know.
I
And
want
it's
to
also
see the side of more.
yeah, it's also very telling though that they literally shot him with a Gorsian bullet. It went right through him, and yet he still had enough power to incinerate all of them.
Hmm.
Because it went through his shoulder, like it went through his blood. He was like, huh, not quick enough. But it did pass through him, so he was probably recuperating. I didn't realize that it passed through him, and I wrote in my fic that it was still stuck inside him, and now I'm mad. Because I reread that the other day, and I was like, got that detail wrong. Got that detail wrong. But, I mean, but it was interesting because then Maja was like, what is inside your flesh? I've never seen this before.
Just used. What if Maja is one of the fates?
Could be.
What if she's thinner?
I think she
Or
would
wait,
be the allotter.
which one's
Yeah,
that?
because if she heals, then she's allotting them more life, right?
Yeah.
And then Nesta would be death. Cutter,
Mm.
perhaps.
Because you can't tell me that Maja is not suspicious.
Totally.
She's suspicious in the way that Chloe is.
Oh, definitely. I don't know. I still think it's plausible that she just looks super ancient because she's been bargaining Bryaxis for spider silk to fix people's wings. A certain person's wings constantly. She's like, this fucking guy again. I gotta go get more spider silk and bargain away more years of my life.
So what would be when parallel to getting spider silk? What did she get spider silk webbing?
Maybe. I mean, maybe if she's in nymph form and her tail gets injured. It would be cool if Maja could heal her tail with spider silk.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says in Tog that Abraxos's wings like gleam. They gleam like these colors or whatever. And so I specifically looked up the word gleam in Kindle. And it's like Cassian's or Azrael's wings gleamed red and gold in the sunlight. Cassian's wings gleamed red and gold in the sunlight. And they're always gleaming red and gold in the sun.
And when Feyre, the spring court, being a spy, we'll put it politely, and she's painting, pretending to look weak and unsure.
Genocidal maniac.
Just annoy crap out of me. And she's painting the roses, and she's like, "They to me, like I'm imagining the Illyrian wings and red and gold."
Yeah, she's so annoying. I mean, I do give her points recently. In the end, well, middle-ish of Akasif and in Hofas for standing up for Nesta. She did gain a couple points back, but
she's getting better. Until
she can actually fucking apologize for what she did at Spring, then she's not redeemed for me. Because she has that line where she's like, "Oh, well, what I did to all those people and lands and how I'd laid them so vulnerable for Hybern." Like, she knew exactly what she was fucking doing. And then she's like, "However, I didn't quite feel sorry about it. I don't know if I ever would."
Yeah, that's just like,
what the fuck is wrong with you? You literally had a huge hand in the genocide of hundreds of people. Because
she did
purposely let the enemy in to trample them to death.
She did admit that there is that side of her that's wicked.
But then she immediately tries to justify herself in her own head. It's so weird, which is why I'm like, there's no way Rhys isn't in her head, like, with her own voice. It's weird. Because she says this shit, and then immediately after she says it, she's like, well, he did say that Hybern promised. Bitch, you knew like, that tempting Hybern would make him break his bargain. Like, you knew that would be temptation enough for him not to keep his promise. That's why you did it. Like, that's literally why you did it.
Like, she just acts so out of character.
It's so fucking weird. The first time that it really, really, really caught my eye, glaringly, was in Akamath when they're talking about, and I've said this before, when they're talking about Under the Mountain. And she is trying to compare Rhys and Tamlin and all that they did for her under the mountain. And then she's like, and Tamlin, who didn't even bother to crawl for me. What? What? Were you there? When you literally said, from your broken body, he was crawling and begging for my life? How? He didn't even bother to crawl for me. When, bitch? Because he absolutely fucking did. I was
He
so
did.
convinced that Rhys went into her mind and like changed her memory of that to make it seem like
Yeah.
he was her hero. So
I'm
convinced.
still mad about that. I'm still mad about that dream. I really do think that Rhys went back in time and meddled with her memory, and that was the dream she had. Because also too, Court of Dreams.
No shit. Oh, an expert Daimati could trap you in their mind and use you like a puppet, and you would think that all of your choices were your own. What?
Hint, hint, Feyre.
Hint,
You're not
hint,
a smart.
Sarah. And then she's like, but he let the door open and I left his mind. Did he make you think that he opened the door for him and it was an illusion? Because I'm not fully convinced that you have ever left the confines of his mind and that you are not his puppet. Not convinced whatsoever.
What really cemented it for me was in at the end of Akamath when she's trying to play it off like she didn't want the mate bond and she's telling Hybern to break the bond
Fucking
and
hate
she's like, please understand. And then all of a sudden, Rhys just kind of like changes. Like he just kind of like
He's like,
his
please play along.
energy shifts. And he's just like, you figured it out. And he's like, you figured it out, Feyre. And I'm just like, that was too smooth. That was way too smooth.
That was too smooth.
Not like
He
not
was
even
shook.
it was so weird.
That was not acting on Rhys's part. When she said that, this man near shit his fucking pants. That was not top tier acting. He was actually terrified until she gave him the look where she's like, go along. And then he's like, oh yeah, she's trying to play Tamlin. Okay. She didn't actually figure it out. Whew, I'm good. I'm all right. Because he was shook. And then he slipped into that clever cunning again.
But
Now,
like
he was terrified at first.
when he was in that clever cunning and he's like, you figured it out. And it's just like, that didn't feel like acting. That did not feel like acting. And it was just like, I saw that and I'm just like, oh, that's weird.
That's weird. That's weird. And then the line where the other one that really fucking gets me, that makes me hate Feyre super badly, is the one where she tells Tamlin, literally tells Tamlin, like, I don't know, like, what he did with my mind or my body. Like, he could have violated me so badly. Like, I don't really remember much. Like, she's basically saying that, yeah, he probably raped me a million times. I don't know. And Tamlin believes her, as any good person would, especially as someone who loved her currently. And then her fucking reaction to him taking her seriously was, I would pay him and all of them back one day for even believing that Rhys could do something like that.
That was Rhys. I don't think that was Feyre. I think Feyre was the one who actually said the things, and Rhys was the one who was like,
I'm sorry. He saw him fucking sexually assault you for 3 months under the mountain. What are you talking about? I will pay him back for ever thinking Rhys could do something like that. He has in public to you multiple times.
That's Rhys talking to her, talking through her.
So annoying. But it's weird because it's not her talking to other people. It's her talking to herself in her head.
That's what I mean.
Which is fucking Rhys.
It's Rhys.
It's so annoying. Yeah, and then the High Lords meeting, when she begins to feel guilty for thinking that Tamlin was an ally to Hybern and not a spy, when he comes with all the receipts and he's like, those people you want to help so badly, their houses are now reduced to cinders because of you. And he's going off and all this shit. And like, she's like, I had to block it out. I blocked it out. I blocked it out. And then like Rhys touches her sparkling knee and then she doesn't feel any more guilt. He's like, don't feel bad for like them digging their own graves. I forget exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of like, don't feel bad because they did it to themselves or something like that. And and then like later on he tells Tarquin like, Hybern's actions are their own. It has nothing to do with us. Like, sir, you are 500 years old and you don't know what cause and effect is? Please.
You don't know what accountability is? And
that was straight up cause and effect. Feyre was the cause. Hybern was the effect. Like, and I don't know if you caught this one, but this one stands out to me a lot as well, is when they first get back to the townhouse. I think it's the townhouse after the cauldron scene when, you know, Cassian's wings are shredded and Azriel's been shot and all of that shit. And after they explain to Amryn and, oh, she's my high queen, she's my high lady and my spy and all that shit. We got married this and we got married that. And then he says, Right now we go to war. And after that, I will delight in helping my mate take apart the spring court from the inside out. And what does Feyre say? Literally paragraphs into her next chapter in the spring court is like, I'm gonna destroy them from the inside out. And they're, leading the wolf into the whatever the metaphor is. I was a wolf and they were leading me right into their court. Like, bitch, there's no way you said the exact same sentence. No way.
You
He
are
was
a
probably
lamb.
like, he was probably like, oh, she's there. Why don't I just convince her to do it while she's there? Because as much as Feyre's naive and kind of stupid, I
Yeah.
feel like, and Tamlin has pointed this out openly. Tamlin has pointed this out, which was his fear from day one, that
Yeah.
nothing would come before Rhys getting retribution on Tamlin. And so literally that means nothing. That means Hybern potentially invading other courts, potentially, losing an army for the war. It was all Rhys getting revenge on Tamlin comes first. And we've seen this pattern. Tamlin's at his lowest, and Feyre's having a baby, and Azriel mentions that, or Lucian mentions that, how do you think it went when I told Tamlin about the baby? And like Rhys's first thought is, better go down there and talk to him about the wall. Yeah, there's no way. Because you didn't really talk to him about the wall. You just wanted to fucking demolish him further. With, you deserve everything, and I don't give a shit if you saved me and my mate, and you don't deserve shit, and it's all your fault that you're like this.
You notice how, like, the parallel between Rhys and Moore? I don't give a shit what you went through. I don't give a shit what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Eris and Tamlin are like.
Fucking undeniable that they are family. Fucking undeniable. They're awful.
I still kind of have to wonder if
The Cassian's like that too.
But like, I'm wondering if Eris is like a spy for Tamlin and is spying on the Night Court.
Oh, I feel like Eris has plenty of strings to multiple people. Always
And
mix truth with lies. Always know your allies. Always da, 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 da. He has shit on everybody stored away. Everybody. He has little tidbits just waiting to backstab people if they pull shit on him.
Mhm.
Like the whole, don't you dare go near those mountains. Excuse you? Don't you go after that harp by yourself. What the fuck do you know? Because you're really giving Cormac with, you can win, oh Bryce. How do you know? How do you know? What archives are in the Autumn Court? We know that the Day Court has the billion cajillion libraries. I want to know what history. I want to know what history the fucking Autumn Court has on Starborn. Like what he knows from his mother.
Oh my god, what if Eris has visited the Day Court libraries?
I don't know. I feel like all of the, I don't know. Well, remember how in CC3, Celine's hologram says that, we had sons who had sons who had sons, and we were adamant that they all pass down the information about our family through the generations so that like it's never forgotten and they all know and all this shit. And so like Eris knows. Eris knows. And he had to know from Lady Autumn. Which makes me wonder about Lady Autumn's parents, because we know that they fucking sold her to Baron, and why? Like, what was so important about having status in that court that you had to sell your daughter to him for power? Like, I know females couldn't rule, so my original thought was like, okay, Lady Autumn was supposed to be the original ruler of the Autumn Court, like through their bloodline was supposed to be the ruling family, but because maybe by some sort of fluke, their bloodline only had daughters, and until, of course, Baron's line probably only had sons, and they were like, we can only have sons because our line is only supposed to have sons, and maybe that's why they sold her to him too, like for status, for power, for her to, I don't know, have more sons. I don't know, but she had to be the one to tell Eris all that shit, because there's no way Baron is that smart. There's just no way. There's just no way.
Other than Lucian, the other brothers aren't
Yeah.
that smart either. They're actually kind of stupid.
And the way that Lady Autumn was under the mountain, like, I don't know, I just loved the way that Feyre described her as like very like graceful, and her voice was like smooth and young sounding, and
It
she
was like
beautiful, and she's kind of smelled like roasted chestnuts and apples and like I don't know. I just really liked. And then she was like, "Thank you so much for saving my son's life. The debt is paid." Bing. She like picked up all the whatever the fuck was all over the floor. She like
She
cleaned the
cleaned
floor
up
for her.
because Feyre had a mop
Yeah,
and she was given like
dirty water.
dirty water that made it worse.
And that's another thing. Like, was Amarantha that fucking stupid, or did she know that people were gonna help her along? Like, she really thinks she could get the floor clean as a human with dirty water in like an hour? I don't know.
I don't know. I still think she had Tamlin trapped in a cell, and I'm still
Me too.
he. I have no idea where my copy is in the garage, but I really want to find it and find the point because I remember reading in the book. It may have been the library edition, which would probably mean it was a hardback, but I have the paperback version, and I swear to God, it was Tamlin who sent that to her. And then somewhere along the line, I guess new editions, new imprints, or not new imprints, new editions got printed. It got switched.
I'm actually really mad because I had the 4 box set and my edition had the one where Amarantha had black hair for a scene. And it like went with the box set perfectly, whatever. And I hadn't really touched my paperbacks in a while. And the janitor at work is like, "Oh, I'll read it. Like, that's cool." So I let her borrow it. And like then she got sick for a few months and she was in the hospital and all this stuff. And then she's like, "Oh, like when I was going back and forth to hospital, it got like bent or whatever, so I bought you a new one." So now I have the new one. But it
Uh,
also is taller than the box set one. So I have a normal size Akatar and a normal size Akasif, and the other 3 are like 2 inches shorter. It's so annoying. I'm like, I got covers for them though, like personal sized covers for them though, because I was almost going to just replace the other 3, but then I was like, it's just paperbacks, it's fine. I'm just kind of annoyed though because it's like long, little, long. I was like,
oh, like I like things being consistent. Ah.
the
But
covers are really pretty though. I'll have to show you at some point. I got them
yeah,
on
different editions have like different details, and that's why I think the fandom is so at odds with each other because, there's those who are like, "Did you read the book?" And it's like,
there's like,
here's
like nothing more I hate than people then say that. I
it's
hate
like
when
there's
people say
different editions. Which edition did you read? Because and I can't help but to wonder if that was just a fluke or if it was done on purpose to try and create, if the whole saying where, we'll bet, any kind of drama is good drama for the book, any press is still good press.
What if the one that, and I don't know where you got it from, but what if the one that had Tamlin giving her the music, because I don't remember that even in my edition with Amarantha with the black hair, but maybe that was like an ARC copy, or it was officially printed?
I think I got my copy from Target.
Because remember, she said that she completely rewrote Akamath, half of Akawar, and then she like went back and rewrote like the Rhys parts when she decided that she wanted Rhys to be Endgame. So it could have been like literally an advanced reader copy that's like pre additions or edits.
Because I had borrowed it from the library. I'd read Avatar through the library,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all hardbacks.
Hmm.
I actually started reading Akatar a lot sooner than that. I think I started to. I know I read like the first, I think, 3 chapters when I was in Sam's Club,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried listening to the audiobook, and then something told me to not read any further because if I did, something bad was going to happen. And I'm glad I listened to my intuition because my ex had like a lot of Rhys characteristics. He had like the tan skin. He was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Had the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Very manipulative.
Cunning.
Very cunning. And I'm very artistic. And my younger self, I see a lot of my younger self in Feyre. Very impulsive. Very
I
stubborn.
want her to just realize that like this is why I want this Valg storyline so much, is that I just want her to see that he has this awful side that she's so naive to just because she's his mate.
She's willing. She has been wanting love for so long. She's been wanting to be noticed.
Like everything
Having
she said
and
about Tamlin is actually true about Rhys. Everything.
yeah. And she was so upfront with Tamlin in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
well, she had a different perspective on Nessa at the time, but I digress. Like, she's still, that's another thing that doesn't make sense. In Akatar, at the end of Akatar, she made up with Nesta. Yet in the beginning of
she made
Akatar,
up with Nesta before she went under the mountain. She was teaching her how to
yeah,
paint and all this stuff, and she's like, "You came for me?" And Nesta's like, "Yeah, like
yeah,
I used my last coin to get that mercenary to take me to the wall, and I just couldn't get through it."
yeah. And it's just like, why did she shit talk about her to Ianthe when they had already made up?
Because Feyre's fucking Feyre, and she loves drama.
I think she does like
She's a real
the drama.
housewife of Prithian.
I really do think so, because like she's been wanting love for so long. She finally had Tamlin, and it was going great. And then the first time they have trouble, she
Well,
freaks
so
out.
here's the thing, right? That fucking bargain, I hate the fact that Rhys made her make that bargain, but every time that her and Tamlin had an argument, that is when Rhys would show up and take her away, so they couldn't talk about it. He was
Yeah,
already
they
emotionally
didn't have
sabotaging them.
they
Hmm?
didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance to work on their
Nope.
relationship.
Nope.
He sabotaged it, and she wants to blame the wrong person. Like, honey,
100%.
look at look who's dick you're writing.
Literally. The fucking all-powerful Valg Prince of Prithian fucking pulling all the strings, threatening
Like,
to murder your sister. You would think that would be a red flag when you just had his baby. Odd.
even before that,
Yeah. He let an adder attack you. He tricked you into fighting a fucking death god just because his mommy said that you were only worth him if you survived her and got her magic necromancy ring. And then I rant about this on my page all the time. All the time. Where the fuck was he when she was at the Hybern camp and they were trying to fly away? Where the fuck was he? Why didn't he show up? You're telling me that in Akatar, he can hear her crying through the fucking bond, and he can't hear her panic screaming through the bond when she's getting attacked by literal hell beasts and can barely fly, and Azrael's wings are clawed? Like, where the fuck was he?
and Tamlin was like, "Here you go."
And Tamlin was there, saving her life, and everybody else's, half of his family's lives, the whole book. Where the fuck were you, Rhys? Where the fuck were you? And the thing is, if they had fucking died, you know, sure as shit, he would have blamed Tamlin.
Mm-hmm.
He
And
would have been like,
a lot
you
of
were
things.
working for Hybern, you let this happen. No, it's where the fuck were you for your own goddamn mate? Where? Because last time I checked, when Lucian had the feeling that Elaine was in distress after her dad died, he literally ran from the shore, slicing through Hybern soldiers and enemies to get to her. So,
Mm-hmm.
if Lucian could do it, and he was miles away, and he's, panting and slicing through people and getting all blood spattered to get to Elaine just because he has an inkling that she's in distress, and your mate's literally getting fucking attacked, where the fuck were you? Where?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I really, like, I know they're ending. I know the scenario is like, yeah, you're mates. I don't think they're mates. I think they're made mates. Like Nessian.
I
I think
I think
Nessa
I think a strong thing for that is that, like at first I think it was the bargain, which is why he could hear her through the bargain thing, bridge, whatever. And then it was because, he had gifted her a drop of his power, so they were both Daemati, so he could hear from Daemati stuff. But,
Mhm.
like, aside from bringing her back to life, like, when does he really tug on the bond? Like, Feyre tries, but she was, like, doused with Faebane at the time. But really, she was just trying to mentally call to him. Again, they lean on their Daemati magic too much. That's another thing. They don't communicate unless it's, like, mind to mind, in secret
So
from everybody else.
I remember at the end of Akatar, Feyre and Tamlin are getting some sleep before they crawl out from under the mountain because they're both exhausted. And like,
Yeah, and she feels the tug, yeah.
you go through 3 months of that, and as much as you want to go outside, you just need to sleep.
Just,
I get
yeah.
that. And so I remember reading, he tugs on the bond, and she's just like, ugh.
Yeah. She was like, I felt a tug in my chest, and I was like, what the fuck? Which was kind of
And
the
like,
same as Cal and May.
and so she's like padding along, and he's like, and like, here's the thing: he suspected, according to what he had said, he had suspected that they were mates, but it didn't really cementify until it snapped.
That moment.
And then he's like, oh freak. Then he winnows, and then he's like, more, she's my mate, she's my mate, she's my mate. And it's just like,
it would have been so much better if like he was more Maeve-like and like he connected himself to her just to get revenge on Tamlin. And
I
then was
think
like,
that
oh, I actually kind of like this chick. I'll keep her around.
that's what I think really happens. Like, that's my headcanon. And like, even
But
though
it's like,
so
it's like SJM makes him like shocked though, and then she makes him like wait to tell her so it won't stress her out. I'm like,
that wasn't your attitude before, dude. You were just willing to like throw her in there and watch her crawl out.
no shit. So annoying. She literally almost got mauled by the Weaver, and he was still just fucking sitting in the tree. Which is very kind of mirroring Cassian when like Bryce pulls the sword and he's like, he tensed and he looked like he might jump in front of her, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Can I just say though, like, obviously I've resigned to just accepting that Faye and are mates, but like I will honestly be very, very upset if Nessian are actually mates. Because it just does not make any sort of fucking sense at all.
I still say that Nesta and Rhys are mates. They don't end up together. Feyre is the backup mate, and they choose to be together, and that's why they work so well. But Nesta and Rhys are.
Well, it would also be cool if, because of the way that Nesta was made and like what she took from the cauldron, if she does have like 3 different mates and it's like Rhys, Cormac, and Cassian, and like she gets to choose.
Well, we know who she's not going to choose.
I know. I just want like Cormac to come and just like, I don't know, like be himself. Like he could finally be himself, like not the dick from CC, and just like treat her like a fucking princess. And then she's just like, nobody's ever this nice to me. And then like, I just like I want her to fall in love naturally with Cormac. Like despite a mate bond or whatever, even if they're not true mates and it was Nessian and Cassian ends up dying or whatever, I want Cormac to be alive. And I want Cormac and Nesta to be together. Because they would literally be perfect together.
They would.
We saw the chemistry she had with Eris. It would be weird with Eris because, like, Eris is pretty much Gwen's dad. So Cormac is legit the Eris of Crescent City. He has the same kind of personality, you know? So they would be so good together. And I really do think that he's destined, prophesized to be the king of the Dust Court.
I think so.
The Kingmaker Sword! The Kingmaker Sword!
Yes.
It has not chosen the IC. It has to be Lucian or Cormac. It has to be. Obviously, before I read Crescent City, I was like, it has to be Lucian. Which it still could be Lucian because we know all the stuff he's hiding. But
it could be, but I think it's gonna be Cormac.
Yeah.
You
know what would be kind of cool though too? If Cormac and Nesta were destined to rule the Dust Court as king and queen, but Lucian and Elaine were destined to rule over Prythian as high king and high queen. That would be kind of cool. Because, again, like, Lucian knows every single court. He has friends in every single court. He has friends in the Mortal Lands. He has friends on the continent. Everywhere. He is known everywhere.
He would be fit for the job. And Elaine also has the skills of a courtier.
Yeah. She was a socialite.
Yeah. Just like Lucian.
And when Feyre says to Lucian after that scene after the war, when he's like talking to her about like the dad and Bass and everything, and she's like, "Careful, Lucian, you're beginning to sound like an acolyte." And he's like blushing, and then like Elaine blushes, and I was like, we supposed to like put something together here?
I think so. And like, here's the thing: Lucian is a socialite. Elaine is a socialite. As the only socialite is people. He gets familiar with body parts.
Yeah.
Not with people.
And like Gwen is good with people, but she's very much an ambivert. Like I feel like she can be outgoing, but I feel like her social battery like drains.
And she's like, I need to just
even in that bonus scene, she was like, "Happy solstice." He's like, Are you kicking me out?"
suicide. And then she like teases him about it, which is just very
She's like,
off.
I thought you were just getting your dagger. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting my dagger. She's like, at 2 a.m.? That's my favorite thing.
He just doesn't know what to do with it, and it's so cute.
It's my favorite thing ever. Because his inner monologue about, I have such an icy exterior. I am so stoic. She'll have no idea that I'm lying. It's like his inner monologue. And then she's just like, at 2 in the morning? And he's like, fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah.
And then he distracts her and he's like, how was the service? Or how was the
And
party or whatever? She was like, the highlight was the service. Which is another thing. Asriel is the most religious of the inner circle. Have you noticed that? He talks
I know.
about the mother a lot.
Well, Cassian kind of does too.
Well, like Asriel will be like, oh, thank the mother, or oh, like stuff like that.
Now I know Lucian is very religious, and that's another parallel.
Mm.
What if, since we were talking about opposites, how Tamlin is the opposite to Rhys, but Lucian also become the opposite to Rhys. What if Lucian is the opposite to Az?
That would make more sense. If Tamlin was the opposite to Rhys and Lucian was the opposite to Az.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, it could be Tamlin and Az. Because remember that she was kind of sort of hinting that there was some comparisons between Asriel and Tamlin and CC3, and then we were like, why are they both kind of like involved with Lauren, and why was it Az that spoke up to Tamlin and was like, be careful how you speak about my high lady and all this stuff? Because if you think about it, like, Tamlin is spring, he's life, he's birth, he's growth, and Asriel is supposed to be like death incarnate, literally the angel of death.
That makes sense.
Meanwhile, Rhys is like night triumphant and all of this stuff. And, Helion and Lucian are day court, light. So, could be
also too, I still think that there is some kind of correlation between Mor and Tamlin, and I can't explain it, but it just feels like there's a link between those two.
I think Mor's the one that knows about Lauren.
I think she knows about Lauren. I think she knows about Ianthe. I think she may have tipped Ianthe because of her involvement with Valahan.
Oh yeah. Oh, she was definitely the one. Yeah. I think we talked about that the last time. But like, well, so here's my very convoluted train track in my mind. I did this huge reel of like theory explanation things that kind of explain this, but so Eris basically, my theory is that Eris has the Wild Hunt hounds. My other theory is that Mor has the Asterian horses, and that the Asterian horses and the Wild Hunt hounds were both used in the Wild Hunt, and that's part of why they're mates, because they were both kind of originally connected to the Wild Hunt, in a way. And I also think that the Wild Hunt, as we basically know, was kind of like the Valg hunting down, humans and all this stuff. And I think that it kind of started where the now Spring Court would be. And I think that not really tradition, but I think the idea of it and the basic history about it was kind of passed down through the Spring Court, which kind of resulted in Callan May, which is like, ancient ritual, and you have to go and you have to pick a maiden, and like Tamlin's father and grandfather and whatever was like connected to Highburn, and like there's a reason why they were connected to Highburn. So I think maybe the connection is just that like they're both sort of inherently tied to what the Wild Hunt was, and I don't know, maybe Mor's truth magic comes into that. I don't know, like the Starlight Pool perhaps. It was a very convoluted theory that I can't think of all of the pieces to right now, but
I still have a theory that Eris and Elaine are going to be working together in the future, because Elaine, she's described as the trembling fawn. There's a lot of similarities between her and Ellen of the Ways. Now, Ellen of the Ways comes in a vision, in a dream, and kind of like Elena.
I have been saying forever that Elaine can astral project, but go on. I love to think that she can astral project herself.
So I think the underground tunnels are the highways, the ley lines. And because Eris knows them.
The same places they are. Yeah.
So Elaine and Eris are going to go together to go underneath the tunnels, and Elaine is going to work for Rhys by working with Eris. And they're going to talk about ocean, and they're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but she's going to form the highways. She's going to find the tunnels. She's going to find out what that other cave leads to.
So then do you think that Elaine or Eris is going to get the first light core under Ramiel then?
I think Elaine is going to give it to Lucian.
So they're gonna keep it secret. That's hilarious. I would love her not to tell like anybody but fucking Phazand or the IC. Like, please. I actually wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Az getting it if like because remember Bryce had to like step on it to come into her full Starborn power. Like, what if that happened to Az? I feel like Az should get the one under Ramiel and Hamlin should get the one under the mountain.
I would say Nesta could get one, but she's already powerful.
She's already
capped off. Az
that could be the other connection between Az and Tamlin, that they're both destined to get the other first light cores, both like their full powers.
I really want them to be besties.
Also, I had this headcanon that like Eris is like, I've never had a sister before, and like Elaine's like literally his sister, and like he's just like so protective of her, and like he just loves Elaine because he's like, I've never had a sister before, and like you're so cool to just talk to. Because I feel like Elaine could like make Eris feel like comfortable. I don't know. They're like literally, aside from obviously Eris and Lucian, they're literally the sibling duo that I'm the most excited about.
And he would be like, you act so much like our mom. Yeah. Let's introduce you to our mom.
Yeah.
Like you have our mom. And then like Lady Autumn just fully embraces Elaine.
Oh.
And like it's just like having
Eris, you failed.
like she's having a similar moment with Ember and Nesta, except it's her and Lady Autumn. It's like
I want it so badly.
I do too.
But as we were talking, something popped into my head. And it goes back to that theory that we talked about before, where I said that I saw that someone mentioned that Eris might be Helian's son too. And how it kind of made sense because of the whole bid thing with Autumn and all that stuff. But
Cormac too.
But Eris is called a snake. Like a lot. And Helian wears the serpent cuff around his arm. A serpent is one of the Day Court symbols, which literally just clicked right now.
Dude, you know what that means? That means so much because he's okay. Not only is he trying to get votes, why would you need to get votes?
Exactly.
Also, too, why are you all killing each other? Are you trying to like burn out the Autumn Court, like so where there's no more heirs?
So Eris knows that Lucian is more powerful than him.
He's already accepted that.
Yeah. So if Eris had no idea, so if Eris knew that Lucian was Helian's son, but he didn't know that or if he did know that he was also Helian's son, he would want the bid because he would know that Lucian would be the heir because he's more powerful than him for the Day Court, right? And also, which I pointed out with Olivia when we talked about this, the scene in Hewn City, which was always fucking weird to me, and I love bringing this up to people because nobody has an explanation for it, when he is talking about that day on the ice to Feyre when she's like, well, you tried to kill us, so I think we'll think the worst of you or whatever, and he's like, it was a High Lord order and I was sent to do it with two of my, and then he goes, brothers.
Mm-hmm. ...
brothers. Like half brothers, I guess, but and this would also make sense why Lucian's like his favorite because they're actually blood brothers, like full brothers.
They are full blood brothers, yeah.
Because Helian and Lady A met when she was 20 at the Equinox Ball, which this is where the timeline gets weird, but I feel like SJM doesn't follow her timelines because apparently
she is a pantser through and through.
Yeah, because like apparently according to people, like Eris would have been like, I don't know, 7 during the proposal with Moore or something, someone said, I don't know. But anyways, basically Lady Autumn was 20 when she met Helian at the Winter Solstice Ball or Equinox Ball or whatever the fuck it is, and then her parents sold her to Baron and she got married to Baron when she was 20. Now it's kind of alluded to, it's not definitely said, but it's kind of alluded to that Eris was born when she like 20-ish years later. But again, there's no formal timeline. So I wouldn't put it past this clever bitch to have pulled it off twice with Barrett, where it's like she fucked Helion during that fucking ball when they met and they fell in love, and then her parents fucking sold her to Baron, and then obviously the wedding night, like, she had to fuck him. And then she's like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. It's your baby, Baron. And like, he just happened to come out looking like Lady Autumn, like fucking pale with like the red hair, and she's like, oh, thank God. You know, because like people also forget that Helion is like Greek. Like he has the Greek aesthetic, Greek Persian. He's not super
He's
dark.
Persian.
Yeah. They get darker in the sun, kind of like Italian, you know, Greek, whatever. He's in the sun all the time, so his skin gets darker. But they're not super dark. So the fact that Lady Autumn is very pale makes it likely that she would still have a pale child with Helion. It's still likely. So Eris just happening to have that famous red hair of her line and, you know, being pale, she was just like, thank God. Thank God he won't kill me. And then, you know, she has all of his awful sons. And then during the war, you know, all the boys are shipped off, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Helion saves her, and then they have their affair again, and then they conceive Lucian, and then she's like, fuck again. And
And
she's like,
he has Helian's nose.
and yeah, she's like, shit. But he is still pale enough to pass for Barons, at least, and he does have the red hair, so she's like, yeah, he's yours.
And he has her eyes.
Yeah, he does. He has her exact eyes almost, yeah. Oh yeah, he does. And and the well, let's be honest, Baron kind of knows. That's why he hates him. He just couldn't prove it. But he knows that Lucian isn't his. But I think it would be fucking gold if if Baron's fucking dying because like Koshi betrayed him or the Queen's betrayed him or something, and he's just fucking dying, and Eris is just like, oh, and another thing, I ain't your fucking son either.
What if there was more motivation to kill Jasminda, not just because she was common, but because he's also mad that Lucian isn't his.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just muddling the bloodline more and more.
And not only that, but kind of like Rhys's father with like the win-win with the Lauren Tamlin situation, this could have been a win-win with Lucian and Eris too, because let's be real, they were the closest brothers. So if anyone was going to ally against him, the two most powerful brothers would have allied against him, right? So what is he going to do? He's going to make Lucian believe that Eris helped him kill Jasminda. That's why Lucian believes that Eris helped kill Jasminda. And when he didn't.
So my question is, did Baron involve a Damati?
No, I just think that, well, first of all, Lucian was really young back then, so, and he was obviously fucking panicking and whatever. I honestly just think that Baron, being Baron, told the next oldest to be like, style your hair like his, wear his fucking clothes, go pin him down.
No. I think he did employ a Damati because remember Brana, or whoever that Raven girl,
Branna.
She said that thing about fire.
Yeah.
About
but she said that she slept with him during the last war, which was after that, right? Was
right,
it after that? No. It was before that because it was when Lucian was conceived. Ha!
That's why I'm like, I wonder if Baron knew her.
Branna. Oh my god. Yeah, it could have been Branna.
He like implored her to invade Lucian's mind and got him to think that Eris was the one who did that. And the reason why Lucian is like, feyre, you're Damati, because he's familiar with it.
And what does Eris say? Oh, I learned how to shield my mind from Damati centuries ago.
I think Brana and Baron know each other.
Oh, they definitely. If it was not Baron himself, it was definitely one of the disgusting brothers that fucked her.
To be honest, I think it was Baron.
It should have been Baron. But also, you goddamn hypocrite.
He was 1,000 years old.
Okay, you're beating your wife to the point of almost death because she fucking had an affair, and you're literally getting it on with like a creepy ass Valg demon. What the hell?
Didn't say it had to make sense.
And also, did Brenna ever have little Valg babies that are Baron's children?
You know, we're a set of twins, and twins do run in families.
I don't know.
Bet. Those kids are so fun.
Black-haired kids with fire. We know whose kids they are.
Right?
If those little raven-haired children with fire magic pop up in the spring court, I got you. I got my eye on you. Baron Spawn.
Mhm.
Baron Valg Spawn.
I think that's what happened.
Because, I mean, he
I
has 7
also think
kids
that's
with
why-
Lady Autumn.
I also think that's why Tamlin didn't hesitate to kill some of the brothers. Because he's like, you are Brana's bastard child. Off with your head.
Uh,
Literally.
is it Baron or is it Lady Autumn though? That's the fertile one because I feel like it would be Lady Autumn because that's why he bought her, right? Because she's starborn and she's fertile and
Yeah.
that's also why fucking Feyre was so fertile on her first try.
Right.
Poor Nesta. That's all I have to say. Poor Nesta.
Look, Nesta had the foresight to change her entire DNA. But
Those triplet girls are gonna be.
But notice, she did not do that for Elaine.
I know.
That's why Elreal is not gonna happen.
I know, and people are like, "You're so misogynistic." I'm like, no, it's literally a clue in the fucking book about babies.
Like
this is
Nesta-
not the real world. In the context of the books, babies are rare and coveted. So it is a big clue that they are not compatible that way. But Gwen, being a nymph and super bendy, like fucking Elastigirl over here, can pop out Illyrian babies. I love how Gwen was like, well, I'm like part nymph, which makes me bendy, but like, I don't know why that's important. I do! I know why that's important! Because your mate's an
and he has the biggest wingspan.
Girl, you and your bendy cervix. Good for you. Good for you. You are so pliable. She's like, I don't know why it matters, but like, yeah, I'm super pliable too. I'm like, I know why it matters, bitch.
I know it matters.
Matters a lot.
You need to make room.
If Nesta can't get her hand over Cassian's, I don't know. You're gonna have to be super bendy. Thank God you're stretchier. That would have hurt.
But like, here's the thing: Nesta did not even consider giving Elaine that.
Everyone's like, well, why would she do that without her permission? And it's like, yeah, but now she can't go back and use the trove and do it again. Huh?
Like Feyre is dying. There isn't really room for asking permission.
I know. Was Elaine even there? She wasn't even there, was she?
Oh, she was.
Oh, she was there. Okay.
She was freaking.
No, was she? Because Moore was holding the baby. Amber
She was
standing
holding, she was holding like the water.
Oh, the rag. The sweat
Yeah.
rag. Just saying nothing. Thanks for telling us, Seer. Thanks for telling us this was gonna happen. That's another thing that bothers me, though. Like, you make a character a seer 3 books ago, and she doesn't fucking see anything important.
Right. Well, Lucian wasn't around.
I know. Paranam, I told you. Her powers are triggered when he's around.
Yeah, and he hasn't been around, so she hasn't been able to see shit.
I'm so excited. I see. This is my problem. Because no matter if it's Gwenriel or Lucian's book next, there's going to be a part of me that is super fucking stoked and a part of me that is super sad because I want both of them, like, immediately.
Yes, just them all in one book.
Like, I don't know. I can't even tell you who I'm more excited for. Like, they are equally perfect to me. Like, they are equal. I want both of them equally.
Yeah.
So bad. And just the thought of having to wait, like, another 4 years for the other one is crushing. Because after this ACOTAR book, she has her secret book, and then she has CC4. So those are going to take 2 years each. And then it's going to be another fucking 5 years until ACOTAR 7.
I still think that the secret book is going to be the Witch Kingdom book.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Minorian. But you know what would be fucking hilarious, which I would actually prefer her to do, just to, like, fuck with everybody? I want it to be a fucking novel about where the hell Vaughn's been. What has he been doing? Vaughn!
I don't remember him. What has Ansel been doing? Like,
he didn't remember Vaughn either. He was one of the cadre in Air of Fire that made Blood Oath to go find Lorcan. He hauled ass out of there and never fucking came back.
Maybe he knew what Lorcan did.
He was an osprey. He was a bird too. Everyone's like, where the fuck is Vaughn? Where did Vaughn go? Where did Vaughn go? And then in an interview, because I was looking through interviews, she was like, yeah, I actually, like, totally forgot that he was a person. I totally forgot that he was part of the cadre. Like, I literally did not remember him whatsoever. So he goes to find Lorcan to kill him for Maeve. Never shows up again.
He's like, bad bitch.
So I was telling Miriam, I was like, you know what you know what Vaughn did? Vaughn went out. He found his own little woodsy girl, kind of like Asterin's hunter. He fell in love with the little woodsy girl. He stayed with her in their little cabin. And once a day, he would look under his bed and go, Lorcan? And that fulfilled the blood oath because he looked for Lorcan. Meanwhile, he's slipping on his apron, making pancakes for his kids.
That's so wholesome.
Opens the front door. Lorcan! All good for today. Closes the door.
It would be so like to do that though.
I'm so tempted to write that fanfic. You have no idea. It's actually on my list of ideas.
Do it. Do it.
I have that idea. I have the Nyx and Tamlin idea. I have the Leo
love
the
it.
lion guy idea of him coming back to life. And my original idea was to have him like fix Amelie, but I really don't like her, so I'm trying to think of who else I could put him with.
Make him related to Uncle Kitty Cat.
My descendant, Gabriel, no last name because nobody fucking has last names. Gabriel Kitty
Galen.
Cat. Gabriel Meow.
Gabrielle Lionheart.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have so many ideas. But yeah. Lorcan, I'm good for today. Good for today, man. Honey. I could just see him in his own little cabin, just being like, yeah, she thought I was looking for this guy. Didn't find him at first, but I fell in love with you. So once a day, I just have to kind of peek out the window or under the bed or somewhere and just ask if he's there to fulfill my blood oath. And it's funny because Maeve is dead and he no longer has the blood oath. But
Yeah.
he will never know that.
Poor
That's the
Vaughn.
funniest part. He doesn't know that she's dead. He never showed up for the war. He's like,
Damn.
oh, better safe than sorry. Lorcan,
Right. Lorcan.
are you? You there? No,
Oh.
good. I don't
Under
want
the
to
rug.
have to kill you in front of my children. Anyways, that would be like top tier literature if the secret book was Bond's.
That'd be awesome.
You have no idea how much I want it to be Bond's book. You have no idea how much.
I want it to be a Kingdom book. I want to know about what happened to Ansel. Like, she's not even a witch, yet she's part of the Witch Kingdom. That was always weird to me.
Wow.
She became a queen, an elected queen.
Oh yeah,
Of
well
the-
her dad was the king and then her family was slaughtered and then she became the queen of
The Waste.
Briar Cliff. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Briar Cliff.
Mm.
Why does she sound Southern is what I want to know.
I have no idea.
She was Southern and Tristan Flynn and his whole family was Southern. It was fucking weird. And I love Sathya. Like, see, the thing is, I listen to Audible as I read on my Kindle. So I listen to it at the speed that I read, which is like 2.7 times speed. And so they just sound, they just sound really fast. So I had no idea that they sounded Southern. And everyone was on Instagram going, why the fuck does Tristan sound like he walked here from Texas? And people drew him with a cowboy hat.
I am all for
And they had the audio, and I swear to God, I go, who the fuck is this? And they go, oh shit, it's Flynn.
wow.
So Cormac is Scottish, and Tristan is Southern.
Would
It's like-
Tamlin be
Thank God, no. He sounded perfectly American, thank you. Perfectly rugged boy, thank you. Actually, his and Lucian's and Azriel's are my favorite voices.
I want to know what the voice actor of Eris knows.
So bad.
He has to know something. He
Last year,
know-
during Eris Week, when me and Olivia saw that interview and we played it, we had a whole entire episode gushing about Eris and what the fuck this guy knows, and that we want to know what he knows.
Mhm.
We literally have an episode that's like, let's talk Eris Vincera. It's just all about Eris and all of our headcanons about Eris, and people are probably so tired of all of us talking about Eris, but I will not let it go. I love him, and if she kills him off, I don't know what I'll do. I will combust. I love him.
I do suspect that she's gonna either kill him off or
So my thing is that she's not going to kill anybody off that will leave a court or territory without a leader. So I don't think she's going to kill Tamlin. I don't think she's going to kill Eris.
that's true. That's true.
Cassian doesn't lead anything, and Cormac is going to be the king of dusk, so Cassian can die. Vasa can only die because she already established that Jurian was taking care of things during the day for her and that he was acting kingly.
Yeah.
You know, and then like Vivian and Callias just had a baby, they're not going to die. Thiessen has a lover, they're not going to die. Tarquin's whole entire family already died. Helion can die because Lucian's his heir. Has a lover. I don't know. This is why I'm kind of scared of her dipping into the Spring Court. Like, I want so much Spring Court and I want Spring Court people, but I don't at the same time. Because I don't want her to establish any reason where she could be like, I could technically make people love him again and then kill him. Like, I feel like that would be an SJM tactic.
That would be insane. Like, I feel like she still likes Tamlin. Like, she likes Tamlin again. Because in that one interview, she was given the ugly stiff lip at Rhys. And it was like, interesting.
The interviewer was like, well, the whole fandom believes that like Rhys is Josh. And she's like, I know, everyone believes that. And then she's like, she like fake gags. And then she's like, here's the thing. I gave him your birthday as a gift to you. And like her husband starts laughing because like Rhys is his favorite, obviously. And so that's why I think people think that Rhys, but she's like, Rhys is not Josh. So I was like, are you maturing, Sarah?
I am proud of her.
I am proud of her. I'm like, are you maturing? Are you going to give him the villain arc we all desire? Please.
I was cool with him being the villain in ACOTAR because I did not like him at first.
Yeah.
I like him at first, and I was told, oh, to the next book, you'll want to, you know.
No.
Okay.
Like, as much as I like hated him in the first book, you were supposed to hate him in the first book, so I liked him as that evil character.
I like him as the evil character.
It became
I do
problematic when we had everyone and their fucking mother in this series justifying what he did. Because it was not okay, and it was what a villain would do, and it wasn't something sweet or cute or heroic at all. And I hate that they turned it into that. Well, he was self-sacrificial. No, the fuck he wasn't. He was selfish.
Here's the thing, though. Like, villains can have sweet sides, just like they're people, and like really, really, really cruel, horrible people can have really kind, nice
moments,
sides. Like they can be amicable. Like they're not all evil all the time.
Yeah. But see, that's where the whole morally gray argument comes in that I absolutely hate. Well, he's supposed to be morally gray. He's not morally gray, because if he's morally gray, that means he would have to make decisions that are for the good of everybody and decisions that are just to be good and just to serve good, and he doesn't. All of his decisions are pretty much selfish for just Valaris. All of his decisions are rash and brash and fucking just him thinking that he knows the best for everybody. And we see this, which I'll bring it up again and again and again, but we see this when he goes after the fucking book, and instead of asking Tarquin, his first thought is, let's fucking steal from this brand new High Lord who's trying to get his shit together after Under the Mountain, who wants to be friends with us actively, who's shown interest in working with us as allies, but I'm not gonna risk him saying no. So then he steals the book, and Hybern looks at him, and he's just like, you fucking idiot. I wasn't even going after the book until you decided sniffing around for it. And it's like his shit comes back to haunt him because he does everything selfishly, because he thinks he knows best, because he's the most powerful. And it gets me pissed. I'm like, that is not morally gray. He's morally dark. But just because he's morally dark, that doesn't mean he can't have a good moment or two with people he loves.
Yeah. Like, okay, I will say this. I do like the part where they're in the inn, they're sharing the one bed because the one bed trope. And Feyre's like, I need a distraction. And Rhys, bless his heart.
It's so sad.
He knows his worth. He knows he's not going to just go for scraps like Cassian. He knows he is worth at least something.
But then he's like, oh, and I don't deserve you. I'm not worth anything. And I was like, you fucking pity party.
No, he was like, go to sleep, Feyre. And Feyre goes to sleep. He's like, yeah, I'm not fucking you because you want a distraction. Like, if we're going to fuck, I want it because you want to. With me. Not a distraction.
But this was after his whole pity party montage of like, when she was like, you need to stop sacrificing all of yourself from everybody. And he's like, well, everybody deserves to be safe and deserves blah, 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 blah. And she's like, what about you? What do you deserve? He's like, I don't think I deserve anything. Cry me a
That's why
fucking
it's
river.
so weird. Like, he was throwing a pity party, but then he had this really awesome moment where he's like, no, I know my worth. I'm not going to be a distraction for you. Even though deep down I know I'm your mate, I'm not going to be that distraction for you because you'll be thinking of him and not me and spending time with me. So go to sleep.
Mm.
And then she
Was
she blacked.
this was after she got the ring, though, right? So maybe he was thinking of his
No,
mother and what his mother did for him and was like,
no.
well, she'll only deserve you if blah, 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 blah. Because that's chapter 54, the inn thing. It was definitely before that she just got the ring. And then she was like, my wedding ring? He's like, yeah, if you want to wear it. And she was like, maybe after. I don't know yet.
She's like,
What? It's been 2 months, bro. And I'm still technically engaged to the guy I never broke up with.
here's the thing, like he wasn't even really direct. He was even like, even when he was being really sweet and having really awesome, like
He
really
was still
good,
lying to her.
he was still lying, he was still manipulating her. She had every
Right.
right to be pissed. She
I
had
hate
every pissed, and I
hate
love
how
that.
the fandom. I know, I hate how the fandom is like, well, he's your mate and he did it as to not stress you out. And like honestly, he's so hot. Why would you even be mad? Like,
And here's
what?
the thing, like
Because the
Feyre
one
was,
thing she asked him not to do is to not lie to her. And the first thing he fucking does is lie to her. That's
and
why.
she pissed, and rightfully so. And Elaine, I think Elaine knows that, and like Elaine wants to be independent. She's like, I don't want, like, Lucian's nice, I like him, but like I don't know him, and he's not entitled to me.
Yeah.
Because Rhys felt entitled to Feyre, and Elaine's like, no, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this right. He's not entitled to me, and everyone is jumping on Elaine's case because,
Olivia.
oh,
Olivia's like, she treats him so
yeah,
awful. I was like, no, I can see where she's coming from too. And she's also like depressed. Like, I can see both sides of them. But the
yeah.
thing that people forget the most is that Lucian is also not ready. Everyone acts like he's pressuring her and he wants her right now and da 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 da. Like, he is not ready either. The first fucking scene when he says, we're mates, guilt, oily, and queasy because he once told Jasminda that she was the most beautiful woman or female he'd ever seen. He is not
Even
emotionally moved on from Jasminda yet. He needs to make his peace with the fact that she was never his mate and that she died for him not being his mate.
and even when Feyre was in his mind, he was ruminating about Jasminda.
Exactly. And everyone thinks like he's just ready because he's the male. Like, no, they are both feeling the instincts. Like he said, like he was gripping the chair and like he just wants to touch her and taste her and smell her and like all this stuff, like all the mate stuff. But
Mhm.
emotionally, neither of them are ready. Physically, the bond is trying to make them ready. But he knows that that's wrong because neither one of them are in a good place to start anything right now. He's giving her space because he also needs his space. This is why he's like, I can't handle 5 minutes in a room with her right now because he's also still reeling.
He's
And people don't realize Lucian's side of this, only Elaine's.
and Elaine chases after him.
She stepped down and he didn't see. That bothers me so much. And the blushing at the end of the bond, the blushing. What did you see, Lucian? What did you see? What is it? What is it? I want Elaine to have a vision, a flashback of Lucian and Jasminda. I think it would be really cool to see it through her eyes, third person, as like a ghost, like a astral projection. I think that would.
I feel like she's gonna have a Lucian in the spring court.
What? I didn't hear you. You cut out.
Oh, I was saying that I think she's gonna have a vision of Lucian, like a flashback vision of Lucian in the spring court.
Yes. I don't know. Do I want the Illusion book first now, or do I want the Gwynreal book now? Like, it depends on who I'm talking about in the moment. I was like, I need their book now.
I mean,
I do feel like it's gonna be Azriel's first, because I think she's gonna hold off the fucking.
they're not ready yet.
I know,
Like Illusion, they're not ready yet.
but like, I don't want to wait another 5 years for their story. I am so fucking pumped for Illusion Week. I have so many fic ideas. I have a list of absolute fire ideas that I have collected over the last couple months. I am so excited. I'm gonna have so many good fics for Illusion Week, guys. so many. I'm so excited. By the time this filming session is posted, it will be Illusion Week. So go read my fics.
Oh my god.
I cannot wait. The first one I have actually been working on and off, obviously, because of all my other fanfics, since last September. And it's called Sun on a String. Kind of like moon on a string, sun on a string.
If the moon on the string, would you kiss me too?
Yeah, so the sun's on a string, and he's like, I would do anything for you. If you wanted the sun on the string, I would go get it for you. And then she like tugs on the bond, and she's like, I already have it.
Oh,
It's so cute. I
or
can't.
like they're all in the day court ensemble, and Lucian is like looking like a freaking god, and Elaine looks like a
I love
freaking
how your mic just caught that word, and it was like, God.
god. Love it.
Okay, the first time Elaine sees him in a toga, is that another idea? God damn you. The first time Elaine sees Lucian in a toga, she's gonna go
Maybe
feral. Huh?
maybe that's why he blushed,
Hmm.
and he's just like, oh, like his chest is showing, and she's
Them
just
on
like,
their thrones.
and she's just like, oh my god, he's gorgeous, and then like Lucian is just blushing, like, oh my
I
god.
totally think that it was like an image of him that she was thinking of at the moment, and he was like, "What?"
And you just cannot compute.
I cannot compute. I have that fic. I have a Callan May one shot. Really hot. Gonna be really hot. I'm trying to challenge
Oh.
myself with writing more smut because I'm usually kind of bad at it, but I'm gonna try. Fire in his veins and all. And then I have the Illusion Alorcan scene where Lorcan gives Alid his shirt for her period. And I'm gonna do like kind of a similar
Right.
fic with that and Elaine, because feyre says like Elaine's too polite to tell Lucian to leave on a normal day. If she's in that much pain, she'll be way too polite to tell him to leave if he's helping her. I think that's gonna be a scene in their book.
But that's also proof that like he's not pressuring her and she's not avoiding him.
Because Feyre was like, I was in a little bit of pain. And Rhys was like, you were screeching and writhing on the bed like you were being murdered. And then she's like, I'm not going to let Nesta go through that alone. And then immediately after, I'm not going to let Nesta go through that alone. Without even talking about Cassian, she was like, and Elaine wouldn't make Lucian leave.
I did not catch that. She mentioned Lucian, but not Cassian.
I'm not going to let Nesta go through that alone. Even if she doesn't want me there, I'm staying there for her or whatever. And then she's like, and Elaine, even on a good day, she's too polite to tell Lucian to leave. She wouldn't tell him to leave if he was helping her. I was like, no mention of Cass. Also, Cassian's kind of like, I'm gonna get people angry. Cassian's kind of like that himbo that's like, ew, periods. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. He's
He
like a
is.
bro's bro. I don't know. Like,
He's-
would he be concerned that she's in pain? Yes. But is he
She-
gonna give her his shirt? He's not smart enough for that, I don't think.
She was in pain on that hike, and he was just like, keep moving.
Oh my god, she passed out.
What do I do?
Oh, she fell down the stairs.
He's
But
such
yeah.
a gym bro.
I know. But when I reread that scene, I completely forgot about that scene. How she was like, Elaine would be too polite to tell Lucian to leave. I was like,
No mention of Cassian.
I need Lucian fucking taking care of Elaine when she's on her first period. Like, writhing in pain. I can just see him with like the sweat rag and like Lucian has fire in his veins. He is a hot water bottle. All she has to do is curl herself around him.
He would make her tea,
Mhm.
sun tea.
Bring her flowers.
Ah,
I have so many ideas for this fic. You have no idea. It's going to
why
be
do
so cute.
why do you think she doesn't wear the gloves? Like, is it because she's treasuring them and she doesn't want to rip them up?
No, I think it's her punishment for kind of rebelling against the bond. Like, there's a part of her that's like, fuck this bond. Like, he's not entitled to me. I don't belong to anybody, because Grayson was like, you belong to him. And she's like, I don't belong to anybody, blah, 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 blah. And so, like, if she wears the gloves, she probably feels like that's an acceptance of a part of him, and she's not ready for that. And also, the thorns pricking her skin are, like, her own punishment to herself. Like how
Yeah.
Nesta self-harmed with, like, sex and booze and all this stuff. Elaine's just letting herself get bloody and harmed that way. In that scene where she's talking about the gloves, Feyre says that, like, you know, I didn't even mention to her that if she was wearing the gloves he got her, her hands wouldn't get torn up. Which I think
Like,
is,
chose to not mention it.
yeah, which I think is also a parallel to, like, she's rebelling against the bond, even though she knows that Lucien is what's best for her.
I also think that Feyre is sabotaging their mate bond.
I feel like she was Elreal at first, and then now, like, she fought with Lucien in Akafast, but she still stood up for him to Elaine. She was like, he's a good male. I want to see you both happy. He's my friend. And she's like, well, does that, just because he brought me a gift, does that entitle him to my time or affections, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, but he's a good male. And I just want to see you both happy. And then Elaine's like, I know you do. And then she goes to talk to more Mrs. Truthy Truth over here. And she's like, let them figure out who they are, what they want to be. Let Lucien deal with Tamlin in his own way. And she's like, I know, but I just want them to be happy. And she's like, they will be.
See, More to me, More is a morally gray character.
Yeah.
Really much. More, yes.
More is
There
more,
are times
yeah.
where More gets on my nerves. There are times where I love More. And then there's times where it's like, I need to know what she knows.
Yeah. She's like fun, but she's also very not like manipulative, but it's more like vindictive, kind of. She's very selfish.
She is the young hip aunt.
That's yeah.
She has the really rich young hip aunt.
And Amren's the cranky old aunt.
Yes.
Lucian's like, oh shit, the horror from our children's nightmare stories.
I want, okay, we need a chapter with that.
I know. I'm like, can
Well, you
we
can
know
do that with the
can we
kid.
know what this story was that Baron told you to terrify the shit out of this kid that he knew wasn't his? Just see Baron like, night kid, don't let Amren come for you and eat you in your sleep and drink all your blood.
Can you imagine them looking in the mirror and saying Amren 3 times to see if she
Yeah. But also, I want to know what her true name is. Because she, like, chose that name when she was out of the prison. So, like, did the stories have her actual name in them? Or was it Amren? And the fact that Rhys is like, oh, my family knew Amren for, like, centuries before I made her my second. Huh?
Yeah.
What? What? But yeah, I want to know, like, Lucian's horror story about Amren. You know for a fact that Baron was terrorizing this child.
Oh god, yeah.
So
And
bad.
and whoever is the true heir of Baron, because it's obviously it's not Lucien. It's not Eris, but Eris is gonna make it that way.
It's so weird because Baron is like, oh well, your brothers wouldn't care if you took the antidote, then they'd be the heir. So like Baron fully believes that Eris is his heir, like without question. And that's why the other brothers also fall in line, both under the mountain and during the meeting, where Feyre's like, oh, the eldest, and he's like, enough. And then they're just like, yes, soldier. They like follow his lead. They listen to him as the disciplinarian.
Oh. What if it doesn't pick him though? What if the magic doesn't pick him?
I feel like because of their allyship, Rhys would find a way to murder whoever was chosen. Oops, nobody else was chosen. Quick slice across the neck.
Be
I vote
another.
for Eris.
That might be why he wanted Nesta.
It is. Oh, it's definitely why he wanted Nesta. The trove that can change fate, 100%. 100%. Because even Cassian's like, I knew it wasn't just lust that he wanted her for. There was something else under that mask. Like there was something that flickered in his eyes. It was something else, but he couldn't put his finger on it.
I still don't think they're made. I think she plucked a string and it changed their fate. Now
if Nessians stay mates, that will probably be the most shocking thing to me ever.
and if Cormac doesn't come up, that would be shocking.
I literally think I would cry if he was actually dead. Because
I
what
would
was it
too,
all
because
for?
yeah, what was that all for? And what was all that for? Bryce saying, you have the 8-pointed star, you have this and this and that. Go find out what it means.
Mm-hmm. And
Why go through
Prince
all
Cormac
that?
is the undiluted bloodline from Dusk, and he was your knight because of that, and that's why your star glowed in front of him. And the prophecy of, oh, he's supposed to be with someone with a star in their heart, and we know it's not Bryce because she's mated to Hunt. And oh, I've been, looking at the archives since I was a little kid, and I was so convinced that I was going to be the one to get the star sword, and there's no way. There's
But
just
really
no fucking
getting
way.
he's going to get the king sword. Nesta is going to be his princess with the 8-pointed star in her heart.
Here's a little thing. So I know that Lanthus showed her the vision with himself as Nesta's king. But what if he just, for the illusion, traded out Cormac for himself, and that's actually a real future event? He just made
That
it
would make
creepy.
sense.
He just made it creepy and gross.
Because just like the Kelpie, who also wanted her.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I would not want to be mated to that thing.
Ugh, the Kelpie. Yeah, no. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
But also, I did find it a little funny that,
Yeah.
I found it a little funny that, Lanthus had, the golden skin and the golden hair, which kind of reminded me of Cormac.
Yeah.
He obviously had, the black eyes, and he could turn into mist. Literal mist! Hello! Mist. But
what if Lanthus is Tamlin's twin?
yeah, but then Tamlin would be Valg. I don't want him to be Valg.
I don't want him to be Valk either.
Because Lanthus had the black eyes and the black blood.
Oh, yeah.
That's my only hang up on the Asteri and the Valg. And you know that I think it's a hierarchy, but the eyes, Maeve and Vesperus and Amryn, if we're considering her as one, have colored eyes. Violet, blue, and silver. And we don't know what the ruling Asteri had on Midgard. Basically, they probably just had whatever color eyes was the body they were in, or I would assume it would be kind of like Amryn and Maeve, they could assume the identity of the person, but their power would shine in their eyes. But then,
Yeah.
you have
Also, like Lysandra. She didn't know what she looked like. She took the form of another person, of the woman she saw when she was 7, but her eyes stayed the same.
Oh, they did? I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, but then there's Lanthus, and there's the Bone Carver, and there's Striga, and there's Branna and Dagden and Hybern and Amarantha that have black eyes. And I would assume they all had black blood, even though it was only Branna and Dagden and Lanthus, and that we actually saw the black blood of.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what color Amarantha's blood was so badly, and I know she did it on purpose. She just didn't write it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Tamlin ripped her throat out, and then he was probably Valg blood. Because remember,
Right? He probably up.
wasn't Lysandra throwing up?
I think
Doesn't
so.
she puke after she eats a bunch of them? That's so gross.
And then she hops onto Adian's shoulders and gives him a kiss, and he's just ew.
Oh, she's throwing up black blood. Oh, Tam.
She's like this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It would have been that would have made the scene so much better if he was covered in black blood and he was kneeling near her broken body. But every time people write that scene, they write him super pristine, and all the High Lords all pristine, and I'm you realize they were fucking trapped under a mountain for 50 years with no showers, right?
Oh, I bet it stunk in there.
It rank, and those nightly parties, the nightly orgies.
Ugh.
Gross. Not to mention the spring court people in the tunnels under the mountain, cramped in cages and forced to be cannibals. So, were they stashed where the first light core was?
Maybe they were harvested to be second light.
I would bet you $100. the amethyst light that Hybern uses.
Mm.
And like he like dips or the tips of the arrows that he fires at them at the Hybern camp were glittering with amethyst light. And like it almost breaks Azriel's shield. Almost. Because Feyre's like, his shield buckled but held. Which I feel like
Well, that would make sense.
Hmm?
It would make sense if the amethyst is second light. Yeah.
But also, Hybern's commanders have like ripple with amethyst light on the battlefield. Like he was winning because all the people that were dying were just supplying his forces. He found a way around not needing Feyre or the High Lord's powers. He just used all the powers of the people who were dying.
Oh.
Bye.
Awesome.